dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Nyaa! You've been hacked by the powerful and tubular Maine Coon hacker Chiaki Katsumi. Here to steal your data and your heart. Hi. Hello. Hi. Happy Sunday. I was gonna say Saturday for some reason. Hello. Hi. I'm a little sleepy. I'm a little sleepy. I guess another late night. A little bit, maybe, perhaps. Perhaps so. I don't know. Today has just felt like a very eepy day. Didn't eat too well yesterday. I slept relatively decently, I would say. But I don't know. Today, maybe it's because it's Sunday. Maybe. So hi Jaguar. Welcome. It is Sunday. Legally a lazy day. That is true. It is Sunday. So I feel it might be because of that. And I don't tend to stream on Sunday, so yeah. It's a very lazy day today. I feel like I didn't do much. I was just sitting there. I was just kind of like lying there, and I was like, I didn't really get much done today. I was just kind of sitting there. Is your body telling you to take a break and relax tonight? AKA, don't stay up till 5 AM my time working. But if anything, I didn't really do anything today, so I feel like I have to catch up because of that. Also, Star, thank you so much for the super. Thank you. Perhaps it's one of those days. I couldn't eat yesterday, so I stayed up till 9 AM. But now I'm filled with energy. I'm glad you were at least able to get some rest, even if you weren't able to get some rest last night. Now you deserve it. It is normally your break day, that is true. I feel you. Starting your work week on Sunday feels... Yeah, Sunday means you're closer to Monday. You need a break. You overwork yourself the last 2 nights with those late nighters you've been pulling. I mean, I need to finish this. It needs to be done. It does. Once it's done, I'll at least be able to, like, really rest. At least rest for a little bit. Rest till this is completed, as they say. Oh yeah. The sleepiness, man, the sleepiness. But today is the day in which I'll finally rank the Fire Emblem main characters. I usually call the main characters lords, even if they're not all of them are technically royalty. I went by what the wiki defines as a Fire Emblem main character. And that included adding the one main character from the whatchamacallit? The crossover. Which I have no idea about them, so also, Andrew, thank you so much for the gifted. Thank you so much for recruiting 1 new member into Nylina. Thank you. My boy Agnak, technically a lord. Yeah, I mean, there's games that technically... Which other one doesn't have a lord as a main character? Is it just... I mean, is Micaiah a lord? I don't know if she's royalty. Tokyo Mirage Sessions? Yeah. The SMTX Effie character is on this list? Yeah, he's on this list. As he's technically still considered. Even though I don't know anything about him. I feel like I should probably make a slot on the tier lists for the ones that I don't know, because I really don't know that guy. I'm like, I don't know about him. I mean, technically the characters in Tokyo Mirage are idols, not lords, though. I mean, I call, like, all Fire Emblem main characters lords, even if they're not technically royalty. So I pretty much just changed it to main characters rather than lords. Because if we go by royalty of, like, every game, we'll be here for a while. We'll technically be here for a while, so, yeah. I don't know, Micaiah's class is light mage. I know, like, the guy she's with, he's like he's not a ninja. Ninja class didn't exist back then. I forget what's... So... Is it South? I think his name is South or something like that. He's not a ninja, but he's kind of like... Thief, I think, yeah. I think he's just a thief. I think so. Never played SMTX Fire Emblem. I was disappointed when they revealed it. Was that the crossover I was hoping for? Yeah. South's a thief, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I believe he is a thief, yeah. And for example, characters like Chrom won't be on the list. He will be on the list because he's technically a main character in Awakening. Like, it's not... Pretty much the main characters in Awakening are both Chrom and Robin. So... Yeah. Because if I pretty much went by, royalty, I would have to put the entire, like, royal families from Fates. And then, like, a bunch of people from, like, genealogy. And from genealogy, I literally, like, know nobody. like, I know Sigurd by name, but I don't know anything about him, like, personality-wise. Stream title does say Fire Emblem MCs. Yeah, I changed it to MCs. Because that makes it easier. I played the SMTX Fire Emblem on the Wii U. It was interesting. I see. So hi Wolf, welcome. Yeah, I would have to put all of Fates and a ton from genealogy and engage. Exactly, it'll be way too many people. And there's a lot of royalty in the games, and that's counting the ones that actually have sprites. Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm counting the ones that actually, like, have a character sprite. If it's just like, oh yeah, it's like the sibling from this character that it's just mentioned and doesn't even have, like, a character image, then it's just like, yeah. Not to mention all the royalty and engage, although I would have loved to see Alfred in the B tier for bench. Yeah, no, I just left it to, like, main characters to make it easier, especially because of games like Genealogy, where I don't know, like, most of the cast. And then I would just have to put them on, like, I don't know who they are. So, even with every lord, it'll be way too many characters. Yeah, it'll be so many characters. Chiaki not ranking a disembodied voice that you technically play as in Blazing Blade. Yeah. The disembodied voice doesn't count. But even if they don't have size models of their family, they're still royalty. Yeah, but still, what would you even rank there? There's no character to rank, it's just a mention of somebody. Chiaki barely knows Sigurd and Celiph. If she had to rank all the others, it would be very hard. Exactly, I don't know anything about them. It's hard to rate characters you literally know nothing about. Yeah, I'll probably have to make a tier that says, like, I don't know about them. Which is probably where the guy from the crossover, the Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem crossover is gonna be. Because I own the game, but I haven't played it yet. So it'd be like, okay, I don't know who this is, so you're just going to the I literally don't know anything about you. I would just have to open the wiki and go by vibes. Like, I don't like your vibes, you go to the bench. So I think I would just put the I don't know tier. The I really don't know anything about them, so they're just going to the I don't know. The vibe check. Yeah, the vibe check ranking. Now having to read the epilogue of the wiki. I'll just have to read their description on the wiki. Be like, well, I guess according to the wiki, they're like this and that. I feel like I need to play their games to get like a better gist of their vibes. You know what I mean? There's a couple games that I feel like I don't know. Are Deirdre and Julie on the list? No. From genealogy, I think I only put Sigurd because Sigurd is like the main character. So I didn't really put like Deirdre and Julia. I think Deirdre's his wife. I think. I don't remember. I haven't played his game, so I'm not sure. Literally just basing the ranking on design in the wiki. Yeah. No, since I'm only focusing on main characters, Deirdre and Julia are not in that. Maybe when I finally play all Fire Emblem games, maybe one day I'll do like every lord. That would take forever though. That would actually take forever. If I do like every lord in the franchise. Every single royalty member. that's ever existed in the Fire Emblem franchise. At least the games. I'm not counting the manga. Because apparently there's a manga that is like, I think around on like Royce's like game or something like that. Which I did not include. The main characters from the manga. There's a manga? Exactly. I didn't even know there was a manga that has like original characters that are not in the games. They're mentioned, there's like references to them in like Royce's game. But other than that, they don't have sprites other than like obviously the manga art. Yeah, the Binding Blade manga, yeah. The Binding Blade manga is not included. I'm only focusing on the games. Because I found out about the Binding Blade manga when I was collecting the images for the tier list. And I was like, there's a Binding Blade manga with original characters. Actually, I wonder if there's a lord weaker than my boy Roy. I don't know. Oh no. No clue. No clue, honestly. But pretty crazy stuff. I could use an I don't know tier IRL. Sometimes you just need an I don't know tier. But yeah, Binding Blade manga's not included. Because I literally know nothing about it. I know nothing about the Binding Blade story. I only know it was in Japanese only when I was a kid. I think it's still Japanese only. Like both game and manga. I don't think the manga ever got translated either. I mean, there's probably fan translations going around. So hi Juice Stick, welcome. And hi Tyler, welcome. There's just a genealogy and engage manga too, and I think a few others. I'm assuming those actually adapt the games, unlike the Binding Blade one, which is like different characters. There's this the card game, which might have a lord or two. I think the card game are based on actual lords though. I don't think there's original like card game like lords. You mean the Cypher one, right? I think might have a scan translation. Maybe out there, probably. It'll be really weird for the manga to get translated officially, but not the game. Yeah. So hi Sarah, welcome. Only found summaries of the Binding Blade manga? Are there no fan translations out there? Really? That's interesting. I thought there would be fan translations. Cypher has original characters, but I don't think any of them are lords. Oh, so they do have original characters for Cypher. Nope, neither's fully adapting the game either. The Engage manga is a very different story. Oh my. The problem of making a manga or anime for the recent Effie is that they would have to pick a side, and then fans would know, and fans would be totally normal about that. It depends which game they adapt, I feel. Oh yeah, I'm in the Cypher one. Some of the characters appear as DLC and echoes. I'd expect the Effie community was a translator 4 years ago. Apparently not? I never really looked into it. Engage does not count. Engage counts! It's supposed to be our anniversary game! Aren't you so happy that we got Engage as the anniversary game? Doesn't it totally celebrate... When did this come out? How many years were we celebrating of Fire Emblem when Engage released? Does Effie Hero count? It does count. It does count. It is a Fire Emblem game. Even if sometimes it doesn't feel like it. No, Chiaki, I'm not happy because the icon is trash. Alright, anime game where they put the actual good version of the story behind the manga. So hi Pavel, welcome. And hi Mr. J, welcome. It is a thing. 35 years ago this year, so 33 when Engage was released. Probably planned for the 30th anniversary. I think so, but I think it got delayed a little bit. But originally, it was probably for the 30th anniversary. I was gonna say, at the very least, the manga couldn't have made the story any worse than already it was. You're saying you added MCs from the gacha game? I did. I had to add them. I mean, I only added the 2 main ones. I didn't add, like, specific chapter ones. No. I added the 2 main ones. The ones that the wiki told me to add. I wasn't gonna add, like, one for every chapter in, like, Heroes. I just added the 2 main ones. Engage was technically supposed to be the 30th, but was delayed a lot. Going to hear this was really from the thumbnail? No, it's just used for explanation. Explanation purposes. Alfonse and the girl that went Sharena. I know you're placing Alfonse that if you had a hero. Fun fact. Alfonse used to be my favorite hero's character. Emphasis on was. Emphasis on used to be. I used to really... When I first played heroes, he used to be my favorite. And I still remember getting baited with like the book 3 when they baited like everyone that Alfonse was gonna die, and I was like, no, he's gonna die. I'm gonna uninstall the game. He doesn't even die, but I remember I saw the teasers and I was so sad. I thought they were gonna actually kill him off. I was like, no, he's my favorite. But yeah. Chiaki is socially invested. Listen, Alfonse doesn't even die even though he had multiple curses put on him. Yeah, he doesn't even die. Oh man. Sharena did win the CYL in the women's division this year, really? Is it because he looked awfully similar to Marth? Not really. I think it was just I just thought he was cool at the time when I first played Fire Emblem Heroes. But yeah. Instead, Alfonse just got sent to the Shadow Realm for book 4. Yeah. Which I found that out when I did the explanation stream for Fire Emblem Heroes. Nah, his dad got Fire Emblem for him instead. I never got through any of the book stories because I never ended up leveling my team enough to play through the end. Really? I never really, like... I think I played a little bit of book 3. I would have to check. I still have the game on my iPad. I think I do. I don't think the internet is very good, though, over here. So I don't think I'll be able to... I'm actually kind of curious, but I feel like I'm gonna be, like... spammed with a bunch of pop-ups if I open the game again. But I'm kind of curious as to which point did I got. Hold on. I might as well just go get my iPad just to see it. Go check. We have time. Hold on. Let me get my BRB. Okay. I shall be right back. I'll get my iPad. So BRB. Oh, hi, I returned. I haven't opened the game in so long that it needs to do a 6-minute update. It needs to do a 6-minute update, so... It won't open. It's updating. It's rolling all the updates. Because I just haven't opened the game in so long. Oh god. The Raps, thank you so much for the super. Reaper, thank you so much for the super. Atto, thank you so much for the super. Colt, thank you so much for the super. And Andrew, thank you so much for the super. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, I can't need to wait for that. And now we wait. It's probably several updates. Yeah, I think so. It's probably several updates of me not opening the game in so long. A year's worth of updates. Yeah. Some years worth of updates in there. And there were like a bunch of characters I didn't recognize on the cover. And apparently Ike now says, "Let's rumble." And I'm like, since when does Ike say that? One of the phrases he says on the loading screen, it's "Let's rumble." And I'm like, okay. Until I remember to play any game that exists on my phone. I don't really play mobile games, so I'm very bad at keeping up with them. When did Ike become a wrestling announcer? Ah yes, the iconic Ike line, "Let's rumble." That's the iconic Ike line, "Let's rumble." I remember when Ike said, "Let's rumble." Oh god. It was definitely interesting. Apparently they have like an older version of Alfonse with a different art style too. And I was like, I don't know. I prefer his original art style than the other version that they made. But apparently it's just him wearing his dad's outfit for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, I'm waiting to see when this loads, when the updates finish. I love the scene about the Radiance where Ike said, "It's rumbling time," and rumbled all over them. That's Brave Alfonse. Oh, that's Brave Alfonse. I really haven't checked this game in so long. Does Marth say we're the Fire Emblem? He's not in the cover! I remember when Marth was in the cover. That was like forever ago. I remember when Marth was in the loading screen. And he was voiced by Yuri Lowento. And he's still voiced by Yuri Lowento. He totally has a physique for changing careers and become a mask wrestler. Who is in the cover now? It was Alphonse, Veronica, some Fire Emblem Heroes original characters. I think most of them were Fire Emblem Heroes original. There was like the Rat Girl and like some other people. Those were the good old days. I remember. I was there. I was there when Fire Emblem Heroes was first starting. Maybe we'll finally get the legendary Alphonse when the next book drops. Maybe so. Most of the brave units are just wearing either their or their siblings' clothes. I can never forget Yuri Lowento for this. I just don't like Yuri Lowento as Marth. Also, hi Claude. Welcome. Congrats on the re-debut. Thank you. I think it's mostly Fire Emblem Heroes OCs and some of the new brave units. Yeah, I think it's mostly Fire Emblem Heroes OCs. Giant Yuri Lowento, doesn't Chiaki like his voice? I think he sounds fine, but just not as Marth. Like, I think he also voiced Riken in Awakening and he was aight. But like, I don't like him as Marth. He doesn't fit like, maybe like what I feel Marth would sound like. I don't know. Back when Hector and Takumi were the meta? Yeah! Back when you would go into the arena and everyone would have Hector and Takumi. My god. You would see every team you battle at the arena had Hector and Takumi. It was awful. But it was the good old days. You play Sasuke. I think Emo Boy's gonna be everywhere. Yeah. That's fair. But I don't think Yuri is a bad voice actor. But compare him to Japanese Marth is unfair. I'm used to like Marth when Marth was only voiced in Japanese. So like it feels weird to hear him as Marth. He doesn't fit like the image that I pretty much made from hearing like Japanese Marth. Can I see some more Japanese voice for Yuri Lawento? Yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever heard his impression of Marth. Was it different in Lear, or was it's still Yuri Lawento? It's still him. Back when skill descriptions were in a dissertation. Back when the power crypt wasn't as bad. How the mighty have fallen. Well, Hector's still around in different alts. Yeah, at the very least. Hector and Takumi wasn't too bad for me since I had my mains of Selena and Robin who hard countered them. That's fair. But yeah, also hi Hacks. Hi Shido. Hi Ming. Welcome. I honestly miss the good old days of Reinhardt being the scariest unit. Oh yeah, Reinhardt used to be so good. I remember, like, I wanted to get, like, the 5-star Reinhardt, and I only got a 4-star. Like, everywhere in the arena, I would see, like, a 5-star Reinhardt, and I remember, like, seeing... I was like, oh my god, I got Reinhardt! And then it was, like, 4-star. I had to turn him into a 5-star manually, because I could never get his 5-star. And everywhere in the arena, you would see, like, Reinhardt. It was like, this is not fair. You would just promote him. I mean, I had to promote him. I didn't get his 5-star, so I just had to promote him myself. But that was a waste of feathers, though. If you wanted to promote other units, you had to, like, pretty much grind the feathers for it. By 3 houses. It's the first one FE I've played and finished. I tried Shadows of Valentia, but couldn't get the hang of it. I see. Shadows of Valentia, it plays a bit different than 3 houses, so that's fair. I never bothered getting Reinhardt since I hated him for being so annoying. I wanted him. Because he was really good. I was the days of running Desperation Celica and nuking everything in Reinhardt. Those days are long gone. That was the entire appeal of Reinhardt. Him being 4 stars made him easy to get. But you could get a 5-star one. You could actually roll a 5-star Reinhardt. I love Reinhardt, going from barely known FE5 boss to one of the most well-known Theracia characters. Magic is everything. Valentia definitely plays a bit differently so far enough. At least no feathers aren't too bad to get anymore. Yeah, I know, like, back in the early days of Heroes, it was a bit of a hassle getting feathers. Echoes really plays differently. Healing costs HP and is really different with their weapon system. It does play differently. It's really true that the English translation of the script in Fates is bad, or just didn't make sense. There's a lot of liberties taken with translation in Fates. Just look at Baruka's and Saiso's support. Literally, Baruka's and Saiso's support is one of the best examples on, like, why didn't the translators for Fates bother. If you look at the English translation of that support and the original, you would see that they didn't even bother. The ... angry ... blushy ... When it comes to Heroes' early days, what comes to mind is Eliwood going cross-eyed. The Eliwood art, the first Eliwood art that they did, tis rough. Tis rough being an Eliwood fan. Stamina is also a bit of a problem in early Fire Emblem Heroes. Nowadays they give stamina pots free. Fates was changed a ton, but even without the changes, Fates writing was still awful. Yeah, basically 3 houses translation of Fates aren't the best. I'll say this beforehand, Eliwood and Roy must be at the bottom of the tier list. Straight up just tossing Eliwood and his son at the bottom. Eliwood fans be sad. Eliwood OG art is some of the ugliest. I know. Eliwood fans had it rough in Heroes, man. Eliwood fans have it rough in general. I feel like in general, like when people talk about like Fire Emblem 7, it's like, oh my god, I love Hector. Oh my god, I love Lyn. Oh right, Eliwood is there too. It's just so sad. Talking about interactions, did you play Path of Radiance? I haven't finished. I only played through the beginning part of Path of Radiance. Is Eliwood that great of a unit? Not that I've heard of. I read Awakening saved the series because the series reached bottom low, but then a lot of people didn't like Awakening's story. Awakening is divisive. There's people that really enjoyed it, and it was their introduction to the series. And then there's the older fans of Fire Emblem, which they didn't like the new direction that the series was going. So it's a little divisive. Personally, I enjoy Awakening. It saved the franchise. There would have not been Fire Emblem on this side of the world if it wasn't for it. Like, yeah, the story is no masterpiece or whatever, but I still enjoyed it for what it did. But in case of the series because I didn't figure out how to make ads. Not only that, it was also more accessible in comparison to older Fire Emblem games. I wouldn't really consider like older Fire Emblem games as accessible as Awakening was. Especially because Awakening allowed to turn off permadeath, which is definitely a thing that it's not for everybody. Eloy would have moments here and there when he was relevant, like when he got a brave altar when his base version stole his premium sons refined and became a monster for a while. Eliwood is that the guy who owns my favorite MC, Eliwood's his horse. Eliwood should be a lance unit. The game has an axe lord and 2 sword lords. It's a missed opportunity. Wait, he can't use lances? Maybe it's because I always seen Eliwood with a horse. But he probably doesn't start with a horse. Eli who? Eliwood's evolution can. Eliwood in FE7, he was alright. No Hector, but also no Lyn. In Heroes, there was a phase where he was meta over Brave Roy. Early Fire Emblem Heroes' choice of artists were a bit of a doozy. Nowadays, there's a general direction how characters should look. Void plus Mist and Path of Radiance. Void was kind of eyed when I used him. But to be fair, I was still an early game. To be fair, I don't think the older fans that prefer old FE games like much of the modern ones. It's a different direction of the series. Awakening was a huge step forward for the franchise in terms of accessibility. Lots of newer players can like permadeath to the point they won't play games that have it. Yeah. Honestly, this might be a controversial opinion, but I think permadeath is a kind of bad mechanic because it makes storytelling infinitely harder. I mean, it's a different take. Like, I get why it exists, but like, obviously it's not for everybody. It's not a mechanic that is going to appeal for everybody. Like, it does make you, I guess, like, think... in a way, it does encourage, like, more strategy because you don't want to, like, make a choice that's just gonna, like, mess you up. But also there's RNG that can just mess you up because it felt like it. You know what I mean? Mist can also be hilarious in late game FE9. She levels strength. Had 1 with more strength than all the mounted units. Mine was Jeffrey when I got him. Oh my god, that's crazy. However, Awakening was censored to Oblivion, which is sad in the West. I mean, it probably was censored, but I think it was probably one of the least censored FE games. In comparison to Fates. I think Fates was more censored than Awakening was. I think there were some changes in supports for Awakening, but I don't think there were as many as Fates. Permadeath in games with RNG is the main issue for me. Yeah, that's the thing. I cry every time I get crit against the boss with 1% crit chance to lose someone on the last turn of a chapter. Yeah. Tis rough. Also, hi Galif, welcome. Like, I feel like, in a sense, the reason why Awakening succeeded, I don't even think Awakening was promoted that much, actually. I don't remember, like, seeing any ads for Awakening or anything like that. I feel like it was more that it made the series more accessible to people than what it originally was. And obviously that attracted more people to playing the game. Eliwood's latest alt was a children's day child version 2 years ago that was decently powerful, but is 2 years old, so he's unusable now. Yeah, there's probably stronger units now. Number of Fates, yeah, Awakening was barely changed. I think it was mostly just the summer DLC that actually got hit that hard. I think so. I think it was mostly the summer DLC. And that's why they introduced the turn wheel. I mean, the turn wheel wasn't until like... not... 3 houses. Yeah, I can really see why permadeath exists, although not every unit has the same exposure and story. It serves its purpose to give a nameless unit a personality and make it more tragic when dying. It makes it more so you actually have to think through your actions in a way. Because, like, your actions have consequences. And it's not like, whatever, I'll just do whatever. Okay, they have a few ads, but it actually wasn't that much. Especially if you compare it to what Fate's 3 Houses and Engaged did. Yeah, 3 Houses, in my opinion, had the most grounded narrative in the sense that it featured a great story instead of a simplistic good and evil story. Yeah, I kind of, in the sense of like split paths, that we have both Fates and 3 Houses, I prefer 3 Houses approach to, 3 Houses approach to like splitting the narrative, because it doesn't feel like, oh, you did the wrong choice, or, oh, this was the obvious correct choice. It kind of feels more like, yeah, each choice has like its good and its bad. And they're all, in a way, kind of like gray or different shades of like the story. Instead of just making you be like, you picked the wrong choice in whichever path you want to go with. So. I don't mind permadeath that much. Mixed actions you take have more weight. Reinforcements are a more touchy subject for me. They're almost never fun, especially in fan projects. Oh yeah, the infinite reinforcements. Treehouse destroyed the Western Fates released by the bad script localization and the removal of the waifu husbando petting the bonding feature. Oh yeah, the petting feature. The reason was the politics of the head back then. I mean, they say that you can still find like the recorded lines of like the petting minigame. That you can actually find the lines. So the whole removal of that feature, I think, was a last-minute thing. It's kind of like a Nuzlocke in that sense, where it adds a lot more gravity to each decision you make because of loss is a permanent thing. In a way, yeah. As part of the problem with Shadow Dragon, in my opinion, it shoves like 3 characters per chapter into your army that speak once and shut up forever. Yeah. Yeah. Permadeath is good for gameplay, not so much for writing, since it means most of the cast can't have a major role in the story. Well, yeah, I feel it's kind of hard to balance. Is Chiaki saying my actions have consequences when I sacrifice units for obtaining better units in Shadow Dragon? I mean, you're at the end of the day sacrificing units, you're losing characters. 3 Houses did the split way better since Conquest didn't even fully commit to making it the villain path either, which just made it kind of lame. Yeah. Who's your favorite Fire Emblem characters? I feel like I have too many favorites depending on the game. Oh, so hi Kasane, welcome. When the optimal strategy for Shadow Dragon was training like 2 units and letting the rest of the entire cast die. I don't like playing like that. I hate letting units die. But honestly, a lot of the Shadow Dragon cast is just not very good stat-wise. Petting minigame? Yeah, the petting minigame. The lines are still in the English release, so it was extremely last minute. Weren't the audio files and stuff still in the cartridges? They are. And the place that you care more about your units, it also fits with the medieval war setting. Yeah. Dorita was a very interesting character with a Death Knight persona. Shame he was locked for Crimson Flower. Yeah. I don't remember. Does Dorita have conversations with Mercedes? I think he does. I think he has like conversations with Mercedes. If you like recruit Mercedes. But I can't remember. The dude was also a great character with his tragic background and toughness. Too bad he was locked to his Moon Root. Would the dude make sense? Would the dude actually make sense that he's locked? Because like if you play like the Deuce story, like if you play like the Blue Lion's route and you see the Deuce story, it makes a lot of sense that he's locked behind the Blue Lion's route. I feel like his story would kind of lose a bit of meaning if you could recruit him in the other routes. Honestly. Considering, you know, the Deuce story is very much tied with Dimitri. And I guess in a way what Dimitri represents. Yes, he does speak with Mercedes. Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if he did. I like actually using everyone in my army, which is why I hated Shadow Dragon for C to kill people off. Yeah. Alien speedruns of Fire Emblem, and the optimal style is really just skipping battles to train like 2 units and bench the rest of the cast for the game. Yeah. The treehouse back then was apparently a radical feminist that saw the feature as problematic and allegedly her boyfriend was found of it. Oh, yikes. He does have special conversations with Mercedes. Remembering on the Swift Path part in Sacred Stones, only one of the Swift Paths allow you to get Amelia, which you can evolve to General. Huge power spike on only the other path. I feel like reclassing saves so many of the Shadow Dragon units. Dragon makes a really good work warrior, same with Barst. I guess reclassing can save, but like, in order to like reach, like, I guess like the second class, you kind of have to train them. Hilda should have been locked to the Verdant route because despite her attitude, she's clearly loyal to Claude. Making her playable to other routes didn't make sense character-wise. I think the reason for her was that she wasn't really Claude's retainer, unlike, you know, Dedu and, God, what's his face? Oh, I keep forgetting his name. The other guy that was like Lady Edelgard. God, what's his face? I have his face in my head, but I forgot his name. Hubert, thank you. Thank you. I was like, I literally had his... I was remembering his design. I was like, my God, what's his name? I just remember if you support him, he's like, Lady Edelgard allowed me to marry you. And I'm like, why are you asking Edelgard's permission? Oh, God. I like Familiar. She's cute and somewhat clueless. I also love Corrin. I feel like the male protagonist and have a lot of emotion. I don't know other characters I like are Camille, Takumi, and Sakura. I see. 3 Hopes fixed that problem. Did it? She's Claude's bestie. I think most modern 3DS and onwards Fire Emblem titles fail at difficulty in the sense that most are just by a DLC within playtest. The only exception is Conquest Lunatic. I mean, I feel DLC is like an entirely different thing, though. I feel... Well, I don't know. I don't know how most people play. At least for me, I don't touch DLC content until I'm done with base game. But... at least usually. But... I don't know. I feel like it depends. Under usual circumstances, I try to usually not touch DLC content until, like, I play through the base game. But... I don't know. That depends. I think Engage was the only one where I actually, like, use some of the DLC emblems, but mostly because you lose a bunch of them at some point in the story. But I think I didn't even recruit like most of them. I didn't recruit most of them when I stream Engage. I think I recruit like what, maybe 1 or 2? So I didn't use like most of the DLC emblems that I got. I think I only used like 1 or 2. Here is the definition of obsessed with Edelgard. He has some really interesting dialogue in the FE3 Houses Warrior games. DLCs are extra content, so it's under your own consideration if you play with the extra stuff or not. I mean, usually they make the base game, like, without taking into account DLC, because sometimes DLC is made way after the base game has been made. It's also be why Hilda choose to fight, you choose to die fighting in the Crimson Flower route defending Claude. If I'm playing a definitive edition with DLC built in, I'm using DLC during first playthrough, but otherwise I try to keep my first playthrough pure. That makes sense, yeah. You got a Tiki one and 3 Houses one for sure. Yeah, I think I only got those 2, from what I remember. Because I know I got Tiki, because I wanted to, like, actually have a dragon. Because Alir couldn't turn into a dragon, and that made me sad. And I got the 3 Houses one. Last FE I played through was Fates, and yeah, the game completely fails the difficulty even on permadeath mode. It's hard, but if you know what you're doing, it's easy. Now, FE Engage is hard. I feel like Conquest is the harder one out of the Fates games. There's like tedious levels in Conquest. Eternal Staircase, I'm looking at you. And play a definitive edition of DLC built in. Oh, so Chiaki doesn't usually do a DLC. On the contrary, I like playing games when everything is released and enjoy the story in its entirety. For me, it depends. I usually play the base game, and if I like the base game, I'll get the DLC. In fact, they never even tease Alir's dragon form. I was waiting to see Elir turn into a dragon, and I never got that. And I was like, this is not fair. Chiaki really wanted to Alir to be able to shoot lasers just like his divine dragon mother. I mean, if Alir was a dragon, I wanted to see Alir turn into a dragon. We haven't had a shapeshifter as a protagonist since Fates. Conquest is literally known as one of the hardest FE games, but I still consider it fair, even if tough. So much for being a mixed divine fallen dragon. I know. I know. It would have been so cool for their engage move, yeah. For sure. Conquest is straight up murdering a major supporting character without warning if you don't get their support high enough. I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about because that happened to me. That happened to me on my first playthrough of Conquest. I didn't know about that. And then I saw that, I was like, bruh. Is that Birthright? No, it's not Birthright. It's not Birthright. That's a Conquest. I know who you're talking about. I'm not gonna say who that is, but if you know, you know. But no, it's not Birthright. Because that character is from Birthright. Yeah. We haven't had the Shapeshifter MC for a while, even with Alir being a dragon. Yeah. I played Conquest before Birthright. Should have played the other one first. That was the same case as me. I played Conquest before Birthright. Because I thought we were gonna play as villains in Conquest. And I was like, oh boy, the villain route. I was like, we get to play as villains in Fire Emblem? Let's go. But yeah, it really was disappointing. They pushed up so much the dragon idea that nothing happened. Yeah. Conquest, I wonder where you got your own. It's hard. You're literally within an army. Even on casual or even lower. Stupidly hard, like intelligence systems put all their work into it. Well, yeah, Conquest is supposed to play more like classic Fire Emblem, and Birthright is more like modern Fire Emblem. Oh, really? I don't know about that. No, it is Birthright, not Conquest. If I think you mean the green boy, isn't that in Conquest though, or is it actually in Birthright? I don't remember. It's just Birthright. Is it Birthright? It's been so long. Now I'm getting confused if it's Birthright or Conquest. Because it kind of sounds like a Conquest thing, but now I'm not sure. Celica, the girl who also did the Renegade route in Mass Effect. Oh, man. Oh, so hi, Novika. Welcome. Novit's in Birthright. 3 cheers for Mark, the most shoehorned protagonist to ever stumble into development cycle. Oh man. Chiaki, the girl who burned villages and conquered the entire world in sport. It feels very Conquest, but surprisingly it was Birthright. It feels like something that would happen in Conquest. So I was like, wait, is it Conquest or Birthright? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. Talking about all these routes reminds me of Path of Radiance, the fact that you need to finish the game several times and fight the Black Knight several times to get the full story. One of those games. And so my daily Chiaki now. As usual, I'm gonna go get breakfast, have fun. Thank you for stopping by, Shito. Hope you enjoy your breakfast. So it is in Birthright. Oh, interesting. I don't know why, it just sounded like a Conquest thing. Personally, Revelations gave me a harder challenge than the other two FE paths. I died multiple times and permadeath mode is stupid. You die, the game ends. I mean, you can... I believe Revelations allows to turn off permadeath, though. It's a Birthright thing, and it's odd since Conquest only has the part where you can sacrifice someone for a pair of boots. The pair of boots. Oh god, not the pair of boots. Oh man. But yeah. Crazy stuff. I don't remember much about Revelations, honestly. Like, I played through it, but I don't remember anything about it other than like what the final boss looks like. It was a nice pair of boots. Was it worth it? Do you want a new playable character or some fancy new shoes? Make your choice. It is Birthright. I don't remember someone dying and I played through besides a certain someone. It's probably that certain someone. Maybe. Unless you did their support. Burma isn't the Dawn Brigade problem, but when Unidan can spell the end game birth wrong. Revelations had the most generic golden root style story, so it was pretty lame. You do remember how it was the worst root in Fate. So this is a dragon, but she never turns into one. And there's Sane, who decided to ditch his dragonstone, which is what most dragons use to transform. Yeah, but Sothis is not playable though. That's the thing. Alir was playable. That's kind of like the main thing for me. No Revelations doesn't allow for it. Sadly, the other two paths do, but because Revelations was mainly a special path, it's made to be really hard. I like at least half the Fates cast, which makes me feel kind of bad. The main thing I remember from it's like the baby dimension. You're not wrong. I remember I remember when I found that out, like how the technically the kids exist in like the Fates universe, which is like basically when the Fates cast would have a baby, your 2 units would have a kid. They would be like, oh no, we're in the middle of the war. We're gonna throw our baby in the baby dimension. And time basically passes different in the baby dimension. So basically it could be like a year in like the normal world, and then they come back into baby dimension, and the baby's all grown up. They're already an adult. And they're just like, you haven't visited me for like 20 years. I forgot about the baby dimension. Yeah, I forgot the little baby dimensions. Oh god, I forgot about that until who babysat them? I think they usually just had a generic unit to babysit them. But yeah, half the babies suddenly teenagers. That was really just the worst way to handle tall units. Yeah, it's just like, oh no, we had a baby. What do we do with it? Throw it on the baby dimension. Those are not a method to shoehorn kids. At least we could have had a reason for the kids to jump back in time. Then Face just puts them in a time capsule. Throw the baby in the baby dimension. Yeah, in Awakening it makes sense. Because like the kids do not exist in the current world. And they only exist obviously in their own timeline. But in Fates it's just like, throw the baby in the baby dimension. There is other people who live in their baby dimensions is actually made it weirder, since doesn't that mean they grow really fast too? Exactly, like how does that work? Like basically if you send an adult to the baby dimension, wouldn't they just be like super old? Because the babies pretty much became adults. Maybe their caretakers died of old age at that point. Because time in the baby dimension works differently. Oh yeah, you can tell they just shoehorned in the babies because it was a popular feature in Awakening. Yeah. Oh yeah, never forget the content of the birthright in Conquest takes place and Fate does not have a name. Wait, it actually doesn't. I just realized that. I was like, wait, that is true. It's just like Hoshido, Nor. They're in some place. Where is that in the map? I don't know. At least we had the patience to time skip entire decades. And also get the previous generation of meteor treatment. Most of them seem to visit their children somewhat regularly. Probably weekly from the outside perspective. Which is still months, 2 years for most of the children. I think some of them didn't visit for a while though. I think Leo didn't visit his child for a bit. From what I remember of Forrest's like initial conversation. But I can't remember too much, it's been a while. What's up, Dragon? Thank you so much for the gifted. Thank you so much for recruiting 5 new members into Nylina. Thank you. Fateslandia. It also kind of sucks that FE Revelations is like almost unviable now. That is true. The eShop is gone. Unless you have the cartridge that has like all 3 roots in one. Yeah. Which they're really hard to get. And probably expensive. Some of the parents don't visit until you literally go to pick them up. Exactly. They're like, you haven't visited me for like 15 years. And it's like, oh god. I wish they added a Fire Emblem series to Steam so I could catch up on the games for the past 10 or so years. Yeah. I seriously make Fate second gen for not being able to delete entire maps thanks to rampant Gale Force. I remember Rajat really saying Hayato hasn't been visiting her. I think Leo also. Forrest also mentions it, I believe. I skipped buying Unlocking Revelations. I have it on my 3DS. But I haven't played it in like forever. Like Revelations. I think Rima-san literally said he didn't visit at all too. My god, they're all terrible parents. I think Kaden does visit his daughter though. I think he does visit Sulky, I think. I don't remember. Yeah, but even with the cartridge with the reboots in it doesn't have any of the DLC content and extra story. I mean, the DLC's kinda I feel. I don't know, I didn't really resonate with the Fates DLC. But there is the quote-unquote explanation as to why the Awakening characters are in Fates. They try to justify themselves by putting the DLC. Apparently it wasn't just Leo was a terrible parent. No, it's apparently a couple of them. Throw them into the baby dimension, proceed to forget about them for like 20 years. Parenting is optional in Fateslandia. Fateslandia? Is that the name we're gonna go for the continent? Welcome to Fateslandia. Where when we have kids, we throw them in the baby dimension. How that DLC was done was really weird. It was like different for both roots and games. Very questionable parenting to just stick them in another dimension where they'll be young adults and teenagers overnight. Pretty much skip the parenting part, just get adult. Just get a functional adult, quotation marks. I'm still sitting here listening to you, boss. You know why? It's nice to hear someone not disregard the Fire Emblem series. I love the Fire Emblem series. It's one of my favorite franchises. I just think it's a lot of fun. Garrett, you're my child now. Yeah. Yoink, free child. Free child that can turn into a dragon. Let's go. The DLC tried its hardest to justify making the Awakening characters showing up, but we all know it's fan service. It's fan service. That's the real father awkwardly accepting his son's almost cross-dressing way storyline. Yeah. Treating the mother an equivalent of tossing iPad to the baby, except toss baby 2 dimension, so he grows up and I had to like, you know, take care of it. Shark Tale adjacent. Oh, I think I know what you mean. At least from what I remember from Shark Tale. Fateslandia is actually the name of the FE fandom came up with for the world since we had nothing else. Oh no. Even the baby in the baby dimension, they come out already grown up. Therefore, we got unlimited expendable units for the arc. Oh god. Finally, a stream can yap non-stop about Fire Emblem without being out of time. Baby dimension aside, I generally think Kaden and Keaton are some of it not the best parents. They seem to visit their children often, if I recall. I think, yeah, Kaden and Keaton were, like, one of the few that actually visit their children, like, kinda often. And, like, their children did not have, like, animosity towards them. Because a lot of the kids in Fates, they're kind of like... We're like, oh, you actually came to visit me. It's like, Jesus. Like, my god, you don't even bother at least, like, I don't know, dropping by on the holidays? Oh, god. Oh, god. Same, it's always a great story, but the latest ones, Awakening onwards have been great. But Heroes is kind of sad, but still enjoyable. Great stories. I'm looking forward to the next one. I have fun talking about, like, the different narratives that they go for in Fire Emblem. Maybe not all of them hit in the way that they should, but I think it's interesting to discuss them. Yeah, Keaton and Keaton were actually pretty chill and made sure to be good parents. I guess the face games are fun. I mean, even the story was pretty eh. I love some units like the ninjas. Selkie and Valoria were some of the few kids that actually like spending time with their parents. I'm telling you, they were like one of the few kids that were actually not just like, you know, angry at their parents for not visiting. I think Sigurd was also kind of like, okay with Sander. Like, I think Sander is kind of like a semi-strict parent. But, like, I don't think Sigurd hates Sander. Like, some of the other kids that, like, show more animosity towards their parents when, like, you first recruit them. They're like, oh, you actually visited. Which is just, like, Yikes. That's some big yikes right there. Holidays, no holidays with Garrett in command. I mean, even for Birthright, even some of the Birthright parents are not that great. Yeah, Inigo's kid was kind of on okay terms with her dad. Soleil, I think, is like okay with her dad, I think, from what I remember. And yeah, also take care, Kasana. Thank you for stopping by. Even the Battlefield stories are pretty interesting considering what they could have been. Or it was a great opportunity to have an evil campaign, but they kind of wasted it. Yeah, like even like the stories that didn't hit that well. Like it's interesting to see what they could have been. Like there were interesting ideas, but you know. How do you feel about Three Houses? I thought it was kind of hilarious they had a class of kids in the basement. I like I personally enjoyed Three Houses. But yeah, having the he's like, oh yeah, we had another class. The kids we keep in the basement. Ashen Wolves? Yeah. Which is just like, how did no one realize this? You didn't just suddenly like hear voices coming from the basement and we're like, yeah, that's fine. You know, you were outside in the courtyard, you suddenly just hear like voices of other kids in the basement and you're like, it's a regular Tuesday. I don't see anything wrong here. So hi Kartak, welcome. If anything, some of the birthday kids were worse since we had Mitama who had to deal with Asama as a dad. Who not only didn't visit often, but even if he did, he was always just a jerk. Honestly, I feel like a lot of the parents in Fates weren't that great to their kids. In comparison to the Awakening ones. Like, Awakening, I think they also had like some parents that weren't that great. I remember Noir didn't really like her mom that much back in Awakening. Panay was kind of okay to Yarn, I think. I think the thing with Yarn was mostly the pressure of like the species cannot go extinct or whatever. But I think like mostly the Awakening cast were better parents than the Fates cast. The business is basically a slum's black market. People ignored but didn't want to hear. Osama is legendarily mean. Like 90% of his romantic supports on insulting the women he's interacting with until they just realize they like each other. Soleil's was rare. At least the Yen localization had a good reason to make changes. Soleil's initial support, I think, yeah, was kind of odd. I know the whole secret in the basement part of the DLC sounded really dumb when I heard it. Nobody really noticed there was a whole dungeon under it. Yeah. Nora was the only one who really hated her mom. The other ones were happy to see them. Nyaa is another example because of her name. Yeah, I know like Nyaa definitely holds some animosity towards Nyaa because of the name. But other than that, I don't think they really like... I mean, they have differences because Nyawi's like more carefree and like Nyaa is like more serious. But other than that, I don't think like Nyaa necessarily hates her mom. Unlike Noir, but... Yeah. To be fair, in Awakening, parents can be better parents because they died against Grima. Well, yeah, it's also that. I mean, we don't really know at what point they died. We don't know if they died, like, together, or, like, some of them died earlier, and others died, like, a little bit later. I think there's a DLC where they kind of mention that? I don't remember. But yeah. Also, hi, Poneko! Thank you so much for the raid! Welcome, raiders! Hope you guys had a good stream. Hi, Chiaki! Hi! For the people that may not know me, Chiaki Katsumi, the powerful and tubular Maine Coon hacker, Chiaki Katsumi! Wait, what? Powerful and tubular Maine Coon hacker, Chiaki Katsumi, yes. Yeah, we're currently talking about Fire Emblem for a little bit before we get to the tier list. We played Fire Emblem, so I had to bring them here next. Ooh, which one did you play? We're forgetting the greeting, shush. I remember support composition and supply Lisa lived for quite some time after things went wrong. I think Lisa did live for a little bit longer. I don't know about the others though. I think the timeline is kind of you know, muddled on like which ones died first. Fire Emblem Fates Conquest Iron Man. Oh, you were doing an Iron Man challenge. Oh, and on Conquest too. Hope that it went well. But yeah, good luck. Conquest is one of the harder ones, especially for an Iron Man challenge. Yeah. Like Inigo wins Severe and Awakening, but Fate's writing just didn't do them justice. They're rather flat in one note. I feel like they really shouldn't have been in Fates. I feel like we could have used that slots for like original characters instead. Yeah, we lost units today. Oh no. But it's definitely hard. We beat Ryoma. The Ryoma chapter. Oh god. When he just waits for you and it says after set amount of turns, Ryoma will begin his assault. I remember that. Oh god. Yeah. I hated that Fates brought back Awakening units. I know. I wish they had just brought new characters instead of bringing Awakening units. Like, I love Awakening, but I feel Fates should have just stuck with like new people. They should probably stay back as Exile after Chrom died until Grima brought the fight to their doorstep. Well, what happened to... I don't think Emerin was addressed in what happened in... I'm assuming maybe like the whole thing with Emerin was just like... It happened the same way it happened in the present? In like the Grima timeline? Or did she just die by Grima too? Grima will wait 25 turns before beginning his assault. Yeah. I just always thought that was really funny. Ryoma will wait 25 turns before beginning his assault. I don't know why. I always thought it was really funny whenever I played that chapter. Chiaki will wait X turns before beginning her hacking process. Exactly. I really love how complicated Severa's character was in Awakening. It's a really well-known character. That was really just a very nice girl, but Cordelia's a mother and obsessed with only Chrom. Yeah. At the very least, Owain Odin give us a divine blessing. Probably his words that his daughter Ophelia, she just rips through anything with a pulse. That is true. That is true. But I don't know, I feel like Fates didn't really do justice to the Awakening characters that they added. Like, they felt a bit more one-dimensional in comparison to back in Awakening. In the Grima timeline, Emerin died during the assassination attempt and Chrom got injured, which weakened him. Lucina prevented that in the game. Because I wasn't sure if like they ever mentioned the Emerin thing. But I guess she does die. So now we don't know about the bad future. That makes it really interesting to speculate about it. We already know a few facts, like how Tharja outlives whoever her husband is by quite a bit. Yeah, I always thought that was really interesting. Like, we don't really know, like, much about the bad future, which kind of leaves a lot to, like, speculation, right? It's like, oh, I wonder how, like, things really went. Like, we only know that everybody, all the parents died, but we don't know, like, which ones survived for a little bit longer. So I just think it's a little bit, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. Yes. I have the water here that I completely forgot about. I think there were a few books that were released in Japanese that did tell more about the bad future, but I can't remember for sure. Fates also gives us characters like Rajad, Kaldori, and Asugi, and they feel like copy pastas from Awakening. That's because they are. That's because they kinda are. Fire Emblem, next Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem Awakening, The Dark Times, where you play through the original storyline, where you play through the dark future. Would have been really cool someday we got a game based on the bad future world with the children having to fend for themselves. It would be interesting. How the bad future was like. I mean, you kinda get a little bit of that with the DLC and Awakening. With the future DLC, but... FE4 has a bit of a similar thing going on with the fate of some Gen 1 characters being ambiguous. You should play Genealogy if you get your hands on it somehow. That game is wild. I'm really curious about Genealogy. Because it's one of the Fire Emblem games that I don't know much about. I only know bits and pieces. I like to imagine Kelvin survives a bad future because even the Risen and Grima didn't notice it. Honestly, that should be the headcanon. It would be so fitting. And to be fair, at least Asuki and Rajat have a bit more going on with them due to their daddy issues. Yeah, DLC did go over the bad future a bit more, but not much. Yeah. It went a little bit over that. Let's hope we get an FE4 remake soon. We shall see if there are any news about that. I wanted to see, as you and many have mentioned, being the darkest. I heard Sigurd's story is super cool. I only know it's like one of the darker Fire Emblem games. One of the darker storylines. And also one of the biggest maps! Genealogy is known for the huge maps. Very, very, very big maps. In comparison to other games. There's a lot of interesting bits of lore that it would be cool to play through. Stuff like Elif scoring or the pre-Medius era, where a lot was going on, like Duman raising an entire civilization. Genealogy has a lot of stuff going on that really holds it back from getting a remake. FE5 is the one that to me is more likely to be remade of the two. But isn't FE5 technically directly connected to FE4? Isn't Celiph Sigurd's son? The huge maps I've heard that are a real treat and can take hours to complete. FE4 is wild, impressively experimental for its time. Bringing up the DLC, it's never explained how there's two Morgans. Maybe one of them is like the Grima Robin and the other one's like the non-Grima Robin. I hope they don't change the Iron maps at all. There's the main reason to play Genealogy. I myself wish we had a game that took place during Unre's time with them as the main protagonist. Rage is kind of a side story. FE4 is about Leaf, not Celiph, but still connected. Oh, is Celiph not like... I thought it would be like Celiph would be kind of more important. FE5's protagonist is Celiph's cousin Leaf. I see. I guess Celiph is not the main character. I kind of just assumed Celiph would be at least one of the main characters. Because technically son of Sigurd and all. But if the race is kind of like a side story. Yeah, FE5 is a mid-quel to Genealogy. Personally, I would also want to see a remake of Corrin and Eliwood's game, so we need a stellar game to come out so my boy doesn't live in the shadow of a smash. Celiph is the MC of Genealogy's Part 2. Part 2? Is Genealogy just kind of like divided in like parts? FE5 has Abel, and she's 100% one of the characters that survived Valhalla. Interesting. FE5 is basically a mid-quel for FE4, showing Leaf's events before he joined Celiph. Oh, I see. Genealogy has a 16-year time skip. That's a big time skip. Yeah, Genealogy has a time split about halfway through. Celiph appears towards the end of FE5 as a major side character, but they ignore FE4's canon to focus on Leaf until the credits, even after which they follow FE4's events. That's so confusing. I think Leaf's game is like a direct sequel of the story of Genealogy. The race does feel like a side story. The race's events barely affect Genealogy because despite winning, Leaf ends up needing rescue from Celiph and Genealogy. Interesting. Very interesting. The more you know, I didn't know that. To stretch. Haven't stretched in a bit. Very, very interesting. But yeah, we shall see. We've been yapping for an hour. Oh my god. We've already been talking for an hour. I just noticed that. It's one of the few times they had a story happen in between another game. Speaking of which, wasn't the race known as the hardest Fire Emblem game? Is it? Oh no. Love the yaps, yapper. If FE5 does get a remake, I still think at least some of the substitutes from FE4 should make an appearance. It's not like they couldn't exist along with the main children. The Resha is the most complicated game at least. be fair, we were talking about FE the whole time. That is true. And it's the weekend we have all time. I suppose so. Risha isn't the hardest. It's just that it doesn't tell you how to play the game correctly. Wait, it doesn't tell you. Not really hard. Just confusing mechanics at times. Hour and 20. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Theracia's up there. Theracia is at least has some of the most hard to deal with annoying mechanics. Considering Conquest would be the hardest, followed by Theracia and then Hector hard mode. Fans are pleading for Genealogy to be remade, but with how localization is right now, no way it would be like the original game story-wise. Because there's some cringe and taboo subtext used there. That's like what I mentioned before. Because also, well, Genealogy, as I mentioned, is one of the darkest Fire Emblem games. So while I know that Genealogy fans want the game to be remade, I feel it's very unlikely that it's gonna be in a state that like fans of the original are gonna be happy about. Like people that never experienced the game before, they will at least, you know, be able to experience the game in a way. But I know it might not be in the state that fans of the original will enjoy. Hear me out. Fire Emblem is still magic and fantasy, but set 8 centuries in the future of any main series entry. I don't know. Risha has staff accuracy, fatigue, and the 199 hit rates. Those will trip you up. Oh my god. As an example, units in Theracia have hidden stats that increase their chance to crit and follow-up, shortened by fans. Interesting. Interesting acronym. Just let us have the M-rated FA game for once, so we can get the OG genealogy. Hey, could slap an M rating on FE for... I don't know if intelligent systems would want that, though. That's the big one. To be fair, FE4's darker aspects have already been brought up in Heroes. Theracia is very experimental. Hostages, stealing weapons, really bad units that can be made viable by scrolls that boost stat grid. Some units with really complicated recruitments, fatigue. House ability was too faithful to the original. Warts and all. Maybe FE4 can stay in remastered. I would love having a more mature or darker type of story with Fire Emblem. I think it can bring much potential. And there are some characters who have growth rates for movement. I guess I'll technically have to see. As of now, I don't think there's any news for intelligent systems on if a new Fire Emblem is gonna be made. I know there's been a lot of rumors about a remake or a remaster of FE4. Honestly, I find it unlikely that FE4 is gonna be remade. Just taking into consideration the content of FE4, I think a GBA Fire Emblem has more chances if we're going the remake route, but who knows? Who knows? Intelligent Systems has been real quiet lately, so I don't know. Watch them remake the GBA Fire Emblems. Honestly, I feel like they're more likely. Yeah, Fire Emblem already has lots of deaths and dark moments, like whole equipped with Barcode, which is really messed up. I don't think it'll be that out of the normal, otherwise a mature FE. But I think like Genealogy is like even darker there. I thought that would be a new FE for the Switch 2 launch. Yeah, me too, but nothing. FE4 would be better off as an RTS if they really want a Horse Emblem in 2027. Fun fact about the ratio, there's a room with a bunch of promoted Dark Mages. One has a Fortify staff, reverse stealing Thief staff, and getting your bracket plate stolen is something. I'll put it on FE6. I can kinda see FE6. FE6 or FE7. Let's not forget some of the messed up stuff in Three Houses. Oh, yeah. They just remake the FE game that was released on the online. Can't wait for them to release FE to Engage, not Engage 2. Roy's popular, we never got his game. I'd imagine they go that route. But I feel if you do Roy's, you kind of have to make Eliwood's game as well. Because, you know, there's direct characters from Fire Emblem 7 on Roy's game. TB is definitely likely, but no one saw Gaiden remake coming back in the day. I guess so, but also I don't think Gaiden had as much, you know. I don't think Gaiden was as dark as genealogy. Most popular, we never got his game. Sacred Stones but full roots instead of half roots would be nice. They could also add a few more units per root. If it were an Elite game, I prefer 6. Given it never got a Western release, people will understand now how carried Roy was about his signature weapon. Directors House of Valentia said that they initially pitched an FE6 remake, but it suggested to them to remake FE2 first. Never mind. I know the perfect game they could give a remake. A Shadow Dragon. If Binding Blade got a remake. Yeah, I feel like if they did remake Rollers, they would have to remake Eliwood's too since they're directly connected. Yeah. An actual multiplayer FE4 that isn't simulated defense maps would actually be nice. If they remake FE6 or FE4 or FE5, I'll cry tears of sorrow. Oh no. To me, FE6 low hydrates aren't a bad thing. They force you to have contingency plans. Shame that Roy's average stats at 2020 are off. Actually saw someone talking about that. But they should make 6 and 7 together as one cohesive story to work out the plot holes and bind everything together. I feel like that could work. If they ever make Sacred Stones, please change the thrones. They were so annoying with the evasion 30 plus 30 minus 40. FEA Remastered, the second coming of our Lord and Savior Loot. Waiter, another Fire Emblem 1 remake, please. Please. It's not fair. Shadow Dragon wasn't that good. It's not fair. Let Marth have a good game. New Mystery of the Emblem wasn't released here. It's not fair. Please, let Marth have a good game. Tis hard being a Marth fan. It's hard being a Marth fan. To be fair, Marth does kind of need it. It's not fair. But it's not gonna happen. Imagine. I still think FE4 is more wanted and likely, but FE6 isn't unlikely either, considering the Echo's director apparently really wanted to make FE6. Yeah. They should port Shadow Dragon DS with 0 changes. No! I already owned Shadow Dragon twice! Chiaki, what's a good game with the ugly cover or where's the protagonist? New Mystery is super underrated. At least give us New Mystery! At the very least! Western Marth says wearing tights. Your Shadow Dragon does deserve a remake that actually improves the game. Shadow Dragon changed nothing from the OG except graphics. And yeah, New Mystery never got released. Marth can't win. They remade a sequel or remade Sacred Stones. I require a playable monster unit and some variety. Are the older games even bad besides just being old? They gave him a dragon and heroes. They should remake true FE3 remake that also includes the abridged version of FE1. No, please, change Shadow Dragon, I beg. It's so ugly and the mechanics are so painful. It hurts me greatly. We do at least need a port of New Mystery. Give me at least a port of New Mystery. I'll take a port of New Mystery. But please let Marth have something. Let him win. He needs to win. It's not fair that the game that he looks the best at, it's the game that is not even his game and is engaged. Oh man. Berkud was messed up, but not genealogy messed up. Finding out about Arby's and Deirdre and what Julie was forced to do. Yeah. The Borges on DS remakes are good. No, they're... I feel Marth looks very rough. Adult Marth. Child Marth looks okay, but adult Marth looks very rough on the DS. I've already got a prominent role in Awakening Butcher. I think I'm gonna head out for the night as I got a pretty bad headache. Thank you for the stream. I look forward to seeing the tier list. Hope you have a good night, Raps, and hope you feel better soon. Thank you for stopping by. And thank you so much for the 5 gifted Raps. Thank you so much for recruiting 5 new members into Nylina. Thank you. Whoever was the art direction behind the Echoes remake deserves a medal. They all look amazing, along with Ian Sinclair for their performance. New Fire Emblem game where you play as a bandit with a band of misfits that constantly try to rob the actual story's MC, only to always lose in cutscenes and run away. Marth already got a prominent role in Awakening. 'Tis sad. I feel also they could give a sequel to the Marth games. I don't think they are ever completed the lore of his game. I think technically New Mystery is the sequel. Again, here is Street Smart's better than his own games. He got a new all for 35th anniversary that's ridiculous overpowered and has a billion effects. All the other games treat Marth better than his own game. It's a very sad. Like, Engage actually makes Marth look good. Like, his design doesn't look like he does. The maps look ugly like in Shadow Dragon. And like, his stats in Shadow Dragon are to cry for. New Mystery of the Emblem fixes smart stats, but New Mystery of the Emblem is not available in this side of the world. But yeah, his stats in Shadow Dragon are to actually cry for. Oh my gosh. But also, hi, and Stealth, welcome. It's kind of sad, yeah. Marth only gets treated well if he isn't the MC. This is sad. Why did they treat the mascot of the franchise so badly? He thought he was the artist for Echoes, and I pray they get to be the artist for another Effie game since Echo's so pretty. At least Marth's still relevant compared to Roy. He's my favorite. Marth's story is definitely finished with Effie 3/12. The only sequel they could do is the 1,000 Years Before Awakening with the first Exo. Is Shadow Dragon Marth stats like worse than Eirika? Shadow Dragon Marth is really bad. He already has the spotlight, that's enough. No! At least give him a good game. It's sad. It makes me sad. Tis a very sad game. Oh god. But alas. I love how in Shadow Dragon the idea of sending Marth with Falchion to fight Medeus is laughable and treated and sending him to his death. Yeah. Marth carried by Falchion, true and real. This is very sad. And he's supposed to like have been trained since birth and whatever. It's like, oh yeah, Marth was trained in like the art of swordsmanship. And like he was educated in like God knows how many languages. And then like you see him in battle, it's like, was he really trained? Oh, he sure don't look like it. But it's like, this is not fair. Oh god. What if we get a remake of the first Marth game, but it's an updated version of his cover art? Oh, Tiki gets better treatment than Marth. Ironically, I'm pretty sure Marth is rated rather well on FE11 tier list. Using Strava's utility alone is great. Oh man. I mean, if we're comparing stats for Lords, Eirika's bases are literally Lyn's, but made with +1 resistance. It's very sad. It's very sad. It makes me sad. But alas, tis hard being a Marth fan. You get used to it. You get used to not getting anything. But alas. Alas. Are Eirika's and Lyn supposed to be on low stats? Not sure. Doesn't Marth have the strongest ability of them all, being able to open doors? I don't think Marth can open doors. He can like sit on the throne and end the level. He has the best ability of them all. Stopping the level. Marth, sit on the throne. Seize the castle. By seizing, he kind of just stands there and he kind of just goes like, I did it. Because there's no enemies and you have to wait till Marth gets to that spot. And then he'll be like, I did it. And be like, good job, Marth. Hard being an Ephraim fan after Engaged. And that is true. He didn't even get voice lines. At least in Sacred Stones, he's pretty cool, though. Oh, God. Someday you'll get Marth's game and his redemption. He's still the image of the series. There's gonna be something. He's gonna be patient. I'm pretty sure one of the main reasons people even use Marth is that he can open chests or doors without a key. To be fair, Marth has 7 moves. He can run fast. He's a fast boy. Only Kid Tiki gets great treatment. Adult Tiki is somewhat forgotten. Let's not forget Nagi. Marth only has to use his falchion, and sitting on thrones is a win con for a map. Marth, sit on the throne. We need to end the map. But yeah, I really love to use the thrones. It's having to wait like 5 more turns until slow lords get to it. Yeah, everyone at least was good in Sacred Stones, even if Engaged didn't care about him. Yours is also He also made Eirika the emblem with Ephraim as an apparition where she uses his special. Poor Ephraim, man. Yeah. I'm trying to see, did I save my BTM to my other screen? I don't think I did. My favorite character in Sigurd is Lara Cal. It's a shame she's so low level to the point she'll never be permanent unless stalling to take damage. You do not have 55 plus turns otherwise. Lara Cal is funny. I like her. She's so over the top. Eliwood fans in Engage. Oh, it's just like, oh boy, they put everyone of like, I think Blazing Blade, like Hector is here, Lyn is here, and like, wait, someone's missing. Oh god, they actually made Roy a Fire Emblem protagonist. He's fatherless now. They took away his dad. I know like Roy was kind of like a weird case of like, oh yeah, he's a Fire Emblem protagonist that actually has a dad. Not anymore. According to Engage, not anymore because they took him away. No, Ephraim is so funny. He can basically sell all Secret Stones if he wanted to. Eliwood has a bond ring. Totally the same thing. I didn't think I liked Ephraim that much, but him being competent and wise made him more lovable for me. He was pretty mature. At least Eliwood has Celiph to hang out with since he's not there too. Thinking back to that time I Edelgard 1 Pulse in Fire Emblem Heroes. Oh man. I think Ephraim is interesting as a lord because it's kind of like all the other lords are like, okay, let me calculate the strategy to kind of like figure out how we should actually infiltrate this fortress. And Ephraim is just like, we ball, we just break through the door. And I just think that's really funny. And he can actually pull it off. He can actually pull it off when he says we ball. I didn't even add Eliwood Horse and Engage. So don't count Ike as a lord anymore. Ike is like technically not a lord. He's like the main character. He's the main character in this game, but he's not a lord. Ephraim is the strongest character in FE history because despite getting sick and frail, he was the one dad to not die. Even Hector dies. Ephraim or Eliwood? Yeah, Ephraim and Ike are some of my favorites because they just had a I would win mentality. Meanwhile, Eirika, all the MacGuffins. Ephraim literally fought against Banter, who almost killed Seth. Ephraim was really a real strategist. He knew his weakness in Turn Fortress. We'll follow up whatever plan Mark comes up with, no matter how silly it may seem. They just trust him. Blind trust. I'm an excellent mercenary, not a lord. Ignore his promotion being called Lord in FE9, please. He is Lord in name in FE9. No, I never liked Eliwood. Tis sad being an Eliwood fan. Tis hard being an Eliwood fan. Eirika on the other hand. I like Eirika, but there were certain points I was like, can I bonk her? Okay. Let me see. I think I already set the tier list. I'm probably gonna have to move my OBS so I can actually see. Let me see. What, Eliwood? It must be really hard being one of the 4 Eliwood fans. Why is Eliwood disliked? I don't know, I feel like most people forget about him. Also, bye-bye, Anjali. Thank you for stopping by. Forcing myself to use Rolf has led to some fun things, though. Why do you have 11 magic? There's that one meme with Lyn, Eliwood, and Hector, where they were disguises or just some cloaks. Oh, I've seen that. Hold on, I think the tier list should be set up. Okay, hold on. I don't think there's BGM here. Wait, no, there is. Okay, I didn't have to actually copy my BGM. Awesome. Yeah, I only put the main characters. Let me to bring in my glasses here. Where are they? There they are. Okay, hold on, I can't see. So we're talking about the other 2 main characters. We had to keep the BGM. Eliwood is between Nurgle and Wario is not hot. New here, FC Fire Emblem Celiph here. Hello! Welcome, welcome, Trinity. I didn't expect Shaz to be here. Shaz is technically the main character of Three Hopes. I haven't played Three Hopes, but Shaz is technically here. What do I name these tiers? I didn't really think of what to name them. I'll probably put this. I don't know who they are. Edelgard is a main character, just hard to stand out in the game when Lyn has her story and Hector's just well liked due to his personality and unit performance alone. I fight for my friend's mentality is peak. Let's rumble according to heroes. Lyn at least gets the possibility to dodge tank and Hector has passable combat, usually good at physical both. Eliwood has neither. Eliwood is there. He's there too. This will be like... I just think they're neat. Eliwood has a horse. Liana and Rowan, sometimes I forget that they exist. Me too. I forgot about Liana and Rowan, and I played through their game, by the way. What would this one be? I think they're neat. This will be... This would be like... Who? It's literally the Who category. The Who and I don't know who they are, it's a little bit different. Because the Who is more like forgettable. And this one is more like... I actually don't know who they are. I never... Everyone said Eliwood. Oh, I always pronounce it Eliwood. Because of the name Eli. So, Eliwood. Anna Razor. Anna's not a protagonist, though. This is about protagonists. Main characters of their games. Yeah. Eliwood's promotion has 7 moves, though. The same as improved. So, yeah. Obviously, it's not every Fire Emblem character. What do I name the S rank? Also, Lasso! Thank you so much for the raid! Welcome, welcome! Lasso and Lassalot! Hope you guys had a good stream. Hope that Pokemon Soul Silver went well. This doesn't say Eliwood! I cannot call him that. I cannot call Eliwood Eliwood. I see Eliwood call Ellie Good, not Ellie Good. Oh no, yeah, for the people that don't know me. Chiaki Katsumi, the powerful and tubular Maine Coon hacker. I'm trying to figure out what to name the top of the tier list. Where is Eliwood's horse? It's not here. Eliwood is here, but not his horse. His rank is lower, so they deserve the title. That's what I mean to be, but the Atakana definitely points towards Eliwood. Yeah, but it's not... They don't use the exact pronunciation in the West versus Japanese. Eliwood, yeah, I don't think it sounds very, probably sounds better in Japanese, but not in English. Yeah, Elijah would. I think it would just be called Peak. I just call him Peak, yeah. Peak. Yeah, I think Peak is self-explanatory. Aleer. I feel I didn't put female and male avatars because they're mostly the same. There's like some differences between each other, but mostly the same. Aleer. Aleer is Aleer. Starting us so with how to rank Aleer. I'm not too big on Aleer. I'll be real. I've played it. Aleer's fine. Like, he's okay, but I'm not a fan of Aleer. Like, I get it's supposed to be, like, different. Subversion of, like, Fire Emblem protagonists with, like, oh, they don't start as, like, being brave and whatever. But, like, I don't know. Character-wise, I'm not really feeling Aleer. I never really felt them throughout the story. Yeah, I tried to think about Aleer. But yeah, I think of the Pepsi, the toothpaste protagonist. Alear doesn't go in peak simply because of the fact there's no dragon transformation. There's also the lack of dragon transformation. Alear's funny in some supports. They're eyed. Like, they're eyed, I feel. It's honestly, Alear's kind of eyed. I feel like I'll put him on eyed. Like, I don't hate Alear, but it's also kind of like, eh. I don't feel like particularly strong about Alear throughout the entire game. Where is stats in general? Like, stats are kind of meh. Personality's kind of meh. His design is... Well. His design is... well... Toothpaste-tan, Colgate-tan, and Pepsi-kun. And the case you'll put Hector. I like Hector a lot. Where is... Oh, I think Hector... Oh yeah, Hector's right here. Design is Pepsilicious. Design is Pepsilicious. Alear's is... it's just odd. It's like Alfonse. Alfonse from Fire Emblem Heroes. As someone who used to play Fire Emblem Heroes, I used to like Alfonse. I fell off of Heroes quite a while back. Alfonse is... He's a guy. He's a very peculiar, odd guy. Reading through some of, like... The books is definitely interesting as to what they're doing with Alfonse's character. Alfonse the Plank of Wood until he became based once or twice. He's interesting. He's definitely interesting. Maybe I should put something a little bit up before I. Yeah, I need another category before. I just think they're neat, and then it's like P. What books? Basically the chapters in Fire Emblem Heroes. They're called books. He's okay. He has his moments. Like, he definitely has his moments in the books. In later books. Like, he was kind of playing at the very beginning of the books, but honestly, like, they kind of made him a little bit more interesting, so I wouldn't put him on neat. Put him a little bit above I would say. I probably need something better than I, but not enough to neat. Yeah, I need another category. Let's see. I need add a row. Any color works. Add a row above. Oh god. Oh, it made 3 of them! Delete. It made 3 of these. Oh god. Change this to that color. And then I'll change this to interesting fellows. It's an interesting fellow. Okay. And then this is a little bit above their height. Alfonse is constantly getting development. Give his and Sharena their own tier like in development. I would say interesting fellows is like they're intriguing. They're not. I don't think they're neat just yet, but it's just like, huh. Interesting fellows for sure. So I would put Alfonse in interesting fellows, because he kind of started a little bit plain around the beginning of Heroes, but honestly, they're kind of like very curious what they're currently doing with his character nowadays. Interesting fellows are the ones with potential. In a way, yeah. Interesting fellows are the ones with potential. I wouldn't say Alfonse was a typical lord. At the start, he really was against making friends, then he overstood the nerdy side, then hell happened. I mean, he kind of has like the whole like thing that a lot of lords have on like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna rush into danger and I'm gonna like sacrifice myself to like protect everybody. And like he has like that bit of recklessness that a lot of lords in Fire Emblem have. In later chapters, they do more interesting parts with him. They do more interesting like character arcs with him. Like he shows a bit of his nerdy side. Then he gets a bit edgy later on and stuff like that. At his geographical location arc. Then he has his I'm about to lose it arc in the fairy arc, which honestly, that fits that fits a lot with what the fairy book is like. He has the I'm about to lose it arc when you get to the fairy book in Fire Emblem Heroes, which honestly, who wasn't about to lose it in that thing? Itsuki Aoi. This is the guy from Mirage Sessions. Basically the Shin Megami Tensei X Fire Emblem crossover. Honestly, I have no clue who this guy is. I haven't played this game. I don't know who this is. I could look at the wiki, but I really know absolutely nothing about this man. The very arc breakdown is honestly some of the best, but it wasn't even actually Alfonse. It was technically us. Yeah. Alfonse is Arena by extension. Had the potential to be a great lord. I think he's an actual who. He's an actual who. I literally don't know who he is. I think he sings the song. Wait, is he the guy that goes like Fire Emblem? Is he that guy? He's your typical JRPG MC. His game has shown up in Heroes and then never again. The girl's the one who sings the Kawaii. Yeah, he's that guy that sings the song. Oh, he's the Fire Emblem man. I don't know if that makes him better or worse. I own Tokyo Mirage for the Wii U and Switch and haven't played it yet. I only own the Switch one. I was tempted to just buy the Wii U one because it was so cheap in comparison to the Switch one. It's mostly a Persona game with Fire Emblem themed stands. SMT XFE was so disappointing to me. I was basically thinking if it would be Fire Emblem in the modern day with demons. I think it makes him better. I still don't know who he is though. Chrom. Oh, Chrom. Mr. Chrom. Google Chrom. This guy. I remember the first time I played Awakening. I wanted to marry Frederick, but instead I got married to Chrom because I didn't know that Chrom had like his forced wedding thing. his forced wedding thing, and I didn't know about that. Next thing I know, I'm married to Chrom, and I was like, what? The chapter rolls around, and it's just like, oh, you're married to Chrom. Lucina is born. I'm like, what? What's going on? Oh, which that's a that was a bit what? Momento? Google Chrom is pretty cool, but it can be Mr. Steal Your Girl. You did too many common parents with Chrom. He just happened to be nearby. I wasn't even trying to support him. I didn't even know that like somehow that would like end up with me getting paired up with him. The first marriage thing is one of the dumbest and funniest things that can happen. I'm glad I never had to worry about that. I found out about the forced marriage the hard way. It was my first time playing Awakening. I mean, hey, at least you're Morgan at Ether, I guess so. At least there was that. But yeah. He's hide. I mean, I didn't think he was bad. His supports were funny at the very least. That's why I always chase male. I lost access to Avatar Gale Force, but I didn't have to marry him mid-unit. Character-wise, I like him. I like Chrom as a character. His design's alright. There's the funny trailer with him getting beat up by Captain Falcon. Like, I saw the tubular can fairly crack open a cold one with on the patio. I was total bro. Finds you asleep in a field and was like, let's bring him along. He just adopts you like a dog. He's like, oh, he just finds you passed out in a field. Let's bring him along. I guess Frederick support talking about a naked poster of Chrom. Frederick extreme supports, that was legendary. The main benefit of being male robbing Chrom can steal you away. I mean, honestly, he's an interesting fellow. He's not like my favorite Fire Emblem Lord, but he's an interesting fellow for sure. Like, having as many amounts of hours as I do in Awakening, I think Chrom is an interesting fellow. He's a, like, yeah, he has the whole, like, you know, typical lord of, like, yeah, I'm a nice guy and whatever, whatnot. But, like, I feel a lot of his supports are kind of funny. Like, outside of, like, if you go past his obvious lord of, like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, save everybody. He's actually a little bit of a himbo, and I think that makes him kind of endearing. Honestly, I think that actually makes him kind of endearing. If you go past his, like, regular, I gotta be the good guy and I gotta save the world, his supports actually make him kind of endearing. That was just himbo Marth. He called himself the Shepherds, then casually reveals that Robin, he's a prince. Yeah, he's not the smartest tool in the shed. He can break calm to Sigurd and her supports with either Lucina or Robin. He punched a wall in the castle that Lucina's knocking through. He's very himbo. But after Emerald's death also gives him some interesting depth. He actually gives up on saving everybody because he doesn't trust Mufasa can keep the army safe. Yeah, there's also the Emerald thing. I think the Emerald thing actually gives him a little bit of depth as well. So he's definitely an interesting fellow. I'll put him in front of Alfonse for now. He manages to fail in ways that don't make him incompetent. Oh yeah. Claude! I know Claude is like very universally loved. Claude, my homie. Okay, originally when I was gonna, when I first got 3 houses, I was gonna go Claude's route. But then I went Dimitri's route. He's a very silly guy. He's a very silly, goofy guy. He's very charismatic, I'll give him that. Everyone loves Claude. He's just a silly, goofy guy. He's a very silly, goofy guy. Is Claude that love? I feel a lot of people love Claude. He's very bro-coded. And originally, I was gonna go with Golden Deer because of Claude. But I ended up going Dimitri's route. He loves hanging upside down too. He's pretty easygoing. Claude is a funny upside down meme. What is the upside down meme? I don't know what the upside down meme is. I thought Golden Deer was the least popular at the start. I think most people were fighting between Black Eagles and Blue Lions. But Golden Deer is just the house that's just vibing, you know? Claude's biggest misfortune is that is the cover art. Claude was loved because of his BA push all of the 3 houses BAs to do a lot of fun advertising for the game. Claude is fun. I just hope Verdant Wind doesn't give him the best showing. Yeah, I feel like I played through like Black Eagles and like Blue Lions. But the route I remember the least is literally Claude's. That's like the problem for me is his route itself. Like I feel like it doesn't show him like the best. The upside down guy in the claim cover. Oh, I forget he's upside down. I gotta forget how I felt about Claude because it's been a while since I played Bird and Win. Have you not seen the upside down memes? No. But yeah, Claude is very real and he doesn't want war. He wants to de-escalate and everyone to be normal again. Claude is interesting, but his concept feels more interesting than the execution. He's shown a shrewd strategist, but even his own route, he usually gets caught unprepared by events. He has a very interesting concept, but I feel like in his route, like, I don't know. Like, I prefer Claude outside his route. Does that make sense? Honestly, Claude's route itself kind of stinks. It's just a rehash of the church route for the most part. He isn't really that politically invested in the Mango Jumbo. Yeah. Written Wind is basically just church route, but with a different final boss. Have you seen the box for 3 houses? That's where the upside down Claude meme came from. Oh, I forgot he was upside down. He's the first bow lord, and he's just a bro. He's tried to not join the others' war and focus on his objectives of uniting all the land and taking out those who slid there, a group sneakier than him. Like, I feel his concept was really interesting. But, unfortunately, I feel like he's kind of undermined in his own route a little bit. And Claude is in the MC, he's actually a better character. Yeah, like, I feel like I like Claude more when it wasn't on his own route. I don't know. Claude is known as a schemer, but doesn't really scheme much in his route. Yeah. He's actually better as an interesting side character wildcard for me, at least. Honestly, I think he's really neat. He is undermined a little bit by his own route, I feel. But I think honestly he's pretty neat. He's a pretty charismatic character. Also, he's relatively good stat-wise. I basically drew parallels with Claude's route to Revelation. He's pretty neat. But if it wasn't because his route kind of like undermines him a little bit, he would probably be peak. Corrin! Oh man, Corrin, Mr. Corn. I have very conflicted feelings on Corrin, honestly. I have very, very conflicted feelings on Corrin. Like, I get that they're a sheltered, like, kid and whatever, and they didn't know, like, what was going on. But, depending on the route that you play, Corrin can be, you know, worse or, you know, slightly better. Their actual Babu, the whole, like, Corrin is very blank slate. He's very blank slate. That's one. And then Conquest, it's always like, no, Corrin is not evil, even though you're doing evil things. Corrin would never. Like, I know we're doing evil things, but like, Corrin is not evil because something. And I'm like, okay. Go on. I'm actually more nice to Corrin than most, but this kid is actually pathetic. I like the shelter innocent kid concept, but the story bends backwards, never giving consequences to make him seem bad. The big thing for me about Corrin is the whole, like, the story tries to bend backwards so much to kind of, like, make Corrin be like, no, he would never, or she would never. Even though they do something bad, but they never allow Corrin to, like, get consequences for something that they do. It's like, that bothered me a lot about Corrin's character. Besides Corrin just being very blank slatey. But why couldn't we be even the evil route? Or at least more edgy? Yeah. For me, that's kind of like... It's like the big thing about Corrin for me. I like having a protagonist that is not just a dude. And that we can shapeshift and that we're like dragon and whatever. But like the character-wise, it's like... The character is... Leo literally dirtied his hands for Corrin all the time. Yeah, everyone was like so like, no, Corrin, you can't do this. Like you can't like corrupt yourself, or I don't know. It was like everyone was bending their backs for Corrin all the time, and Corrin couldn't ever like assume consequences for anything that they did. People are bending backwards for them. Azura, Leo, literally every other lore, depending on if you are playing Birthright or Conquest or Revelations. It's just... For me, like, that's the big thing about Corrin. There's just not much going on for them. Means a blank slate, you can't even project yourself onto them. Corrin is just... Oh... No. I mean, I don't know if putting them on who is really accurate because I know who they are. But, I feel like I would put them lower than Id. I feel like for me, they're lower than a Lear. For me, they're like lower than a Lear. Corrin was like lower than a Lear because I feel like a Lear at least kind of like had more agency than Corrin did. New tier needed. What would I even call this tier though? I don't guess it's really that bad. And Birthright, he did take some actions. I'm surprised to hear. The only thing Takumi did wrong was walking as a front of a unit being bowlocked. My better tips to who to something else. Is there a Y tier? A mid tier? Maybe just change it to meh instead of who. Meh. Oh. Might be better. Might be a better chance, I feel. Yeah. Alir at least had some stuff going for them. Corrin was just kind of mid. Yeah. Yeah, I think changing it to meh is better. Yeah, Corrin kind of goes there. I'm about to be the most biased person here. I'm about to be the most biased person right about now. You should put a hate tier. It's a shame because Corrin have really good design. Corrin has interesting concepts, but the writing either ruins or never follows through. Yeah. Do it. Bitch, you my boy, my homie, my ruthless blood-sucked monster. Now, to reach this right here is going to be straight to peak. Surely. I'm destroying the other three houses MCs. Not really. I did really just destroy Claude. Claude, I literally just put him in their need. Because they are neat. The only problem with Claude is that his root kind of doesn't do him justice. Okay. My reasoning for this. This is like taking away design-wise. Because he has... Dimitri has like ramen-looking hair. Pre-time skip. Mr. M's McDonald's French fry hair. Ramen has the M arc on his hair. But for me, with Dimitri's like the development. It's honestly the development that you see in Blue Lions that kind of like makes Dimitri a very interesting character. Most times give Dimitri with Chase and Daybreak playing as Dimitri, absolutely demolishing everything he comes across was so peak. He's a very interesting character. He's a very interesting lord. And I feel like post time skip without like, if talking about it is kind of like a spoiler though. It's like the development that he gets post time skip and how you see like everything happen. But like I can't really like go into detail because it's spoilers for like his route. But honestly, it's kind of like his character development that happens pre-time skip and then the time skip. You realize McDonald's was no longer cool. The growth in the Azure Moon is really interesting. Exactly, it's the growth in the Azure Moon that kind of makes Dimitri a really interesting character. Hard to describe without spoilers, so I feel like this is a stream where you should spoil things. I'm surprised Dimitri's arc, but it's a really interesting character. I mean, Three Houses is obviously with flaws and whatever. It's not a perfect game, but I put Dimitri as peak because of his character arc. Because I think it's a really interesting character arc that he has throughout the game. There are signs. They're very hard to tell if it's your first rodeo of this game. Of like how his character is gonna go. But if you definitely play Blue Lions, you can kind of see the signs that something is up with this man and that he's not fully there. Not everything's okay at home with Dimitri. And once you get to the time skip, you kind of see how that turns out. And pretty much that entire development of what happens with those subtle signs that were there pre-time skip. And like seeing him change. And then the conclusion of all that. It's just, I really, really like his arc. He's also really strong unit. Stat-wise, he's pretty good. And clear tell his man is going to snap at some point. That he's very unstable as much as he tries to hide it. Chiaki seeing him going, I can fix him. And then finding out she actually does fix him. Not really. It's more like the... Initially, what made me join Blue Lions is that I kind of found myself like liking most of the cast more than all the other houses. Like, there were more characters in Blue Lions that I liked than in all the other houses. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play Blue Lions first. And it ended up being the house that I liked the most, so much that I ended up playing it twice. And I had to force myself to play the other routes. But that's besides the point. Because I didn't want to, like, actually fight the other characters. I was like, I can't do it. So I just stole them all when I played the other routes. They do the gold. They do. I love to do. He's just a little man in this big, big world. But for me, the Blue Lions and Golden Deer were pretty much equal, so I just went the deer. I was attached to almost everyone in Blue Lions. I really like the entire cast of Blue Lions. And it hurts fighting the do in the other routes, but it be what it be. That's fair. I always stole everyone in the other routes. I couldn't hurt them. Yeah, I just stole everybody. Lean more towards Blue Lion's character, even Ingrid. Ingrid is the only character from Blue Lions I didn't like. She's mean to the do. She's mean to the do. Therefore, she's not part of the Blue Lions in my heart. Does that have Dimitri's fate in every other route some flavor of tragic? Yeah. Yeah. But Chiaki the do fixes her, so it's fine. She's so mean to Dedu, and for what reason? Like, I get why, but it's so... It makes me angry. It makes me angry, because Dedu is so nice, so then Ingrid is just so mean to him, and it makes me angry. Like, I quote-unquote get it, but I also don't. But I also don't actually. But yeah, that's besides the point. We're not talking about Ingrid. Then there's Eliwood. I'm so sorry, Eliwood. I am so sorry, Eliwood. How can anyone be mean towards a really good boy to do? I mean, she does have a reason, but the reason's very much a bad one since the dude proves her wrong basically right away. The Randall man. Eli who? That's just Roy. The meteor immediately, the famous Eliwood. He has a horse. He has a horse. And he's Roy's dad. And that's it. I'm so sorry, Eliwood. Maybe my opinion will change when I actually get through this game. I don't think it will, but I don't think it will, but we can sure. Even playing this game, he's just kind of meh. He's a terrible unit. He caught with a dragon. I don't think Nyaa is canon. I don't think it ever got confirmed. And Eliwood that high. I mean, I do know who they are. Eliwood worst FE7 lord. Wonder the reason why he's so bad because of his dad. Is it genetics? It sucks to bring him along. That's so mean. Ninia's the most likely one, yeah. He does have a moment where he accidentally kills Nini. What's the most memorable thing about him? He almost killed his friend. Okay. Wow, that's sad. Well, he pierced Nini with his sword. So it might be genetics. Eliwood's so useless in his own game. Poor Eliwood. He only catches strays. Almost kill the girl he loves. Man, Eliwood just can't win. Eliwood just can't win. Byleth. Byleth's I mean... Byleth is the player character. I feel Byleth is interesting. Like, as much as Avatar characters go, Byleth is pretty interesting, and he definitely has, like, a lot of, it's a blank slate, but decent. Yeah, like, Byleth is a blank slate, but I feel like he's pretty decent, for as far as blank slates go. Byleth is hated at least in Smash. Everyone from Fire Emblem is hated in Smash. Smash doesn't count. Byleth is Corrin, but with actual agency. Byleth is cool. Love their design. Being a teacher is actually cool. I feel like Byleth is like the good flavor of blank slates. They actually have agency. They're pretty... I feel like they actually are kind of imposing. Light to me was a better core in terms of blank slates, but then 3 hopes happen. Now I think Byleth is one of the better player characters. Where's the standard for blank slates though? I mean, I feel like actually having agency in the story and not just like letting the plot drag you along. Like Fates, I feel like Corrin was just in for the ride. I don't feel like he had much agency. Smash doesn't really count. Byleth was really well liked before Smash. Honestly, I would say Byleth is pretty neat. I would say they're pretty neat overall as far as like blank slates go. They have a lot of agency in the story. They definitely affect the 3 lords throughout the narrative. You can see that their actions and like the way they react kind of like affects everyone. And it's kind of interesting seeing Byleth kind of like show more emotion as the story progresses. Byleth actually pushes the story along and is important overall. When a certain part of part 1 happened, you can see in their body language, their interactions with others, how that event affected them. Yeah, like, I feel like there's also essentially, like, how after a certain event happens, you kind of see Byleth develop a bit more emotion towards everybody. Instead of, like, how they were more closed off at the beginning of the game. Which I think is really interesting. You can actually see real growth in Byleth throughout 3 houses. I am not speaking about 3 hopes because I don't know 3 hopes. I haven't played 3 hopes. So Shez is probably gonna fall into, I don't know. Because I don't know how Shez acts. So yeah, I'm not really, he's gonna be with Mr. Itsuki Aoi because I don't know anything about Shez. So honestly, I'll say they're neat. I am pretty neat. I feel no one's gonna agree with me in this, but hear me out. Look, I use engages Marth. I wanted to pick a good picture of him. Marth bias. It's my Marth bias. I like Marth. I know no one else likes Marth, but I like Mr. Fire Emblem himself. I have my Marth bias. So I have my Marth bias. Reveal though you think he's peak. I know the West doesn't do him any favors. His games don't do him any favors. The base of Fire Emblem, he's a good feller. I like Marth well enough. His garbage remake was my first FB. Marth should be in his own tier. I'll make the Marth tier. Actually, Marth just like Eirika though. I don't like Eirika though. I very actually have voiced that I don't like Marth's English voice. I don't like Eirika. Eirika idols other characters, but I don't like him as the voice of Marth. I like Marth as a character. I own Shadow Dragon twice. And I own his original game as well. When it was out during the anniversary of Fire Emblem. Is really not biased. Your favorite character. You have your reasons why you like him. As much as Shadow Dragon is not that good. And New Mystery of the Emblem is forever stuck in Japan. Until maybe one day we get a port. But I don't know if that's happening. I like Marth. I think he's neat. I like going through like Shadow Dragon even if the story is not like wow. Maybe his story is not gonna be revolutionary. It's not gonna be a cinema-winning masterpiece. But him going from little guy to becoming the Hero King, being known as the Hero King, was pretty interesting. Where's Reinhardt? Reinhardt is not the main character! Read the title. We're not ranking everybody. Those main characters of their games. Even with Shadow Dragon not being that good, his characters to manage to shine through. Maybe a little generally good guy, but he's quite nice as an underdog. Marth is the Hero King of Legend. He just has the history and worlds of Fire Emblem. No, Reinhardt's not the main character of his game. Marth is simple. He's a really good character. He may not be as memorable as other lords. But I feel like his journey in Shadow Dragon, while not being like absolute greatest cinema in Fire Emblem standards, I liked seeing him go through it. Going from little guy who pretty much never thought he would like actually end up like going to war because he was a younger sibling, and pretty much just being one day and then his castle gets attacked. It's like, well, gotta get out of here, Marth. And then thinking Elise is dead because Elise kind of just tells him to run. And he has to just pretty much go far away from everything he's ever known until he's older and he can actually fight. And pretty much then be able to come back and hope that one day he can see Elise again, who God knows if she's even alive at that point. Like, I like seeing his story unfold. Like, he may not be like wow character in terms of like other Fire Emblem protagonists out there, but I feel he set the standard of what the series could be. Also, yeah, Marth actually spent years in exile playing his return to his homeland. Exactly. Like my other story, I like Marth as a character. Like, yeah, he doesn't have the best stats ever. In fact, they're actually kind of terrible in Shadow Dragon. But I like him as a character and seeing the growth that he went through. Going from, like, little boo-boo baby that had to pretty much run away from his homeland. Because his homeland got invaded. And he was still a kid when that happened. And Elise, as his older sister, just kind of had to, like, buy time for him to escape. And pretty much being forced to just be like, okay, well, you're a little too young to actually do anything. So we are gonna have to just send you to exile until you're a little bit older so you can actually do something. And all that growth that he gets, and then he kind of like pretty much starts gathering people so he can actually fight for his homeland and all that stuff. It's a yeah, it's a classic hero's journey. Yes. But I like Marth as a character. It's not that you like the story inside Marth. I like Marth as a character. This is Marth's story. I like how he grows as a character from going from not being as strong and just being pretty much a boy that didn't know much of the world to kind of like earning his title as a hero king. I personally enjoyed his character and seeing how he grew. Pretty much being forced to kind of like assume like, yeah, you're not just always gonna be able to save everybody. And you're gonna have to sacrifice people. Because Shadow Dragon kind of like drives that point through a lot. Of like, you're gonna have to throw people to the wolves, essentially. So, because there's the sacrifice chapter in Shadow Dragon, which everybody hates. I hate the stupid sacrifice chapter. But like, I feel it does drive a point in Marth's journey, because I feel Marth is still like very green at that point of like, yeah, I could save everybody, but in reality, he can't save everybody. He's kind of like forced to face reality, because remember, he was also in exile for quite a bit. He was just a kid when he kind of had to like run away after everything happened. So, in his mind, he was just like, oh yeah, I could probably save everybody. And it's just like, yeah, about that. This remake prologue. Well, yeah, this is still part of the remake prologue. This is still part of the remake prologue. Obviously, the original Shadow Dragon didn't have much story because they couldn't really fit that much in the original. Other than a few dialogues here and there. So mostly speaking of like Shadow Dragon DS, because the original Shadow Dragon couldn't really fit that much. But yeah, it's pretty much a wake-up call for him. You can't save everybody in war and you have to make difficult choices. Oh yeah. It's just interesting to see like the changes. It did the tutorial level. I'm talking about the remake prologues as an initial basis point, yeah. Because I also don't want to talk about the entire game itself. So I'm using basically early parts of the game to kind of like explain my point a little bit. Strategy I made to a point to be like, if you want new characters, you gotta kill off units. Introduce a character to literally sacrifice themselves unless you want to change the narrative a bit. Well enough, Leaf has similar steaming when times are bad. You have to take what you can get. His army is a ragtag group of pirates, bandits, cultists, and anyone else willing to fight. Yeah, OG Shadow Dragon Mud was kind of there. So it's a better look at the remake overall. Well, yeah, obviously Famicom, the Famicom one didn't really have too much of a narrative because there's only so much narrative you can fit. So, yeah. Like, his story is simple, yeah. It's not like cinema, you've never seen this before. But I kind of like how it actually works for his character. It works for, like, the type of character they're trying to establish. They're trying to establish someone that has probably only heard of, like, war in, like, a book. And not actually experienced that. And pretty much kind of had to experience it as a kid, essentially. And not even being an older sibling. So, it's like, oh yeah, like, sure, you're the descendant of, like, the guy that saved the world. But, like, we were never, ever gonna tell you that. You know, the story's nothing crazy as the first lore of the series. It works well. Yeah. I have a soft spot for him as, like, the first lore of the series. And, like, I feel like even if the story is, like, not overly complex or whatever, I feel like it works well for him. Or even the narrator that were able to fit in the OG games. It was already a real wonder. They were able to even fit that much with that content. But yeah, so... I know that a lot of people disagree, but... in my heart, he's still peak, even if his stats suck. Even if his stats suck. Even if he went through so many redesigns. In my heart, he's still peak. I have a soft spot for him, so... it's my tier list, so I get to put him wherever I want. Not his own tier? Nah, I'm not that biased. Baysword deserves it after everything he's gone through. Oh yeah, thus it was written, so shall it be. Yeah. That is true. Ephraim! You speak. I like Ephraim. I think he's pretty cool. I think Ephraim is honestly really new. Ephraim, he's peak. Easy. She's got too much power. It's my tier list. I get to put them wherever I want. I see a bit of a bias. It's a tier list. They're obviously gonna be biased. That's the entire point of tier lists. Everyone is biased in tier lists. Ephraim is a Chad, but Seth is Chatter. Seth is pretty cool. I like Seth. It's fair though. Ephraim has a nah, I would win. Exactly. Ephraim has a nah, I would win. And honestly, I think he would win. Just recognizing pattern. They're all blue. They're all blue in some shape or form. Can you tell that blue is one of my favorite colors? No way. No way. I'm ready to see Eirika's superior brother. I like both of them. I like both Eirika and Ephraim. I like their sibling dynamic. Maybe it's because I'm also a younger sibling like Eirika, so like having the little banter with her older brother, I could kind of relate a little bit. I could kind of relate to the sibling banter a little bit. Ephraim has that mentality, and he's also actually surprisingly smart for an FE Lord. I think Chiaki likes blue. Seth is sad. Easy. He's considered you're stupid. It was established early on that Ephraim's capable and strategic. The game wants you to follow Eirika, but Ephraim is the obvious route. I think both routes are fine, honestly. And Ephraim's maps are a little bit harder. Like the pirate map is a bit of a pain in the butt with the reinforcements. Which means that Chris is definitely going to peak since he's blue. Not every blue character is going into peak. I'm also a youngest sibling. Having this super workable older brother really hit home for me. Yeah, as a sibling, you can relate to the bickering that Ephraim and Eirika go through at times. Yeah. I could relate. Blue is Chiaki color. I could have never noticed. Ephraim can solo them all. He would win. He says he would win, and he totally would. Liana! She's fine in Warriors, I think. Honestly, Liana and Rowan are like the watered down Ephraim and Eirika for me. Even their story is kind of low-key Sacred Stones, but like watered down. Even with the childhood friend turning evil. Literally with the childhood friend turning evil. It's like Sacred Stones, but watered down. Basically, finished Sharena and Alfonse. I've been Wars for 20 minutes. I beat the entirety of it. So true. The red colors is a blue, so guess who's my favorite person? I wonder. Liana's just worse Eirika. Yeah, they have the same characterization, but worse. They're literally Alfonse and Sharena. No, I think they're supposed to be Eirika and Ephraim. Except, like, if Ephraim was, like, more... Like, what's it called? Not ruthless, but reckless. I mean, Ephraim's kind of reckless, but he actually wins. Rowan doesn't. But, yeah, it's like, it's watered down Sacred Stones, essentially. So that's why I let you choose the one you don't like as your rival. Not really. Liana and Rowan are together. Rowan has nothing on Ephraim. Oh, I never played Warriors. It was one of my first Switch games, so I played through it. I mean, the brother was originally supposed to be a spear user too, but they didn't want the twins to play differently. It's Ephraim, but without the strength to back it up. Ephraim has aura. Rowan doesn't. Rowan is Ephraim if he wasn't the winning Chad. Liana's okay. Honestly, she's like, she doesn't really, like, stand out to me too much. I'll be real with you. Like, she's alright. Rowan needs a haircut. Ephraim looks clean. I mean, Rowan's hair is kind of, like, upwards, though. Yeah, it's a cute design, but she's kind of whatever. She has a cute design. I like her design, but, like, personality-wise, she's kind of there. That reminds me so much of the other sibling from FE Heroes, Sharena. Lena would be better if she was blue. Not necessarily related to her being blue. It's just like her character's just kind of forgettable for me. Like, she was there, but it's kind of like... It's kind of there. Like, honestly, she's fine. She's alright. Like, her design's cute. I don't remember her stats. She's... I really like both the Sun sibling designs. I think it's neat. I can't tell your personality other than nice and heroic. Yeah, it's just like, she's nice. She's heroic. That's it. But yeah, Liana's there, I guess. So, Robin! She's gonna tip the scales. She's gonna tip the scales and, what was it called? We're not pawns of some scripted fate. I really like Robin. I really like Robin. I really like Robin. Neil Robin, they fit on either side of Claude. I really like Robin. But would I put it on peak though? I feel like Robin's very memorable. Like, would I put her on peak or would I put her on like their knee? I really like Robin, but I don't know if I'll put her on peak. I put her on peak. I like that Ron's such a door. They actually have personality. I feel like out of like all the player characters we've gotten, Robin has been the one with the most personality so far. Like, she really is the one that has like the most personality while still allowing you to self-insert. So, I feel like peak is getting too crowded though. Yeah, the whole their story and plot is also really good too. I really enjoyed it. And has actual characterization, including stuff like how ruthless are willing to get the Shepherd's victory, like when she burns Wellheart's entire fleet. Yeah, I feel like she has she's really peak. Both her and male Robin. Robin is the least blank slate and actually is a character even without being an Avatar character. Like, out of all the Avatar characters, I feel like Robin has to be the best one we've gotten so far. So I feel like Robin deserves the peak slot. I feel Robin deserves the peak slot. So I think I'll leave her there for now. Unless I, like, change my mind. I'll say Crystal has a lot of personality. I don't know, like, from the little bit I played of New Mystery of the Emblem, Chris didn't stick with me too much, but it could also be that I didn't play too much of New Mystery of the Emblem due to, you know, the only way of playing it is sailing the 7 seas. But yeah, Robin also has the best relationship with their game's final boss compared to other self-inserts. That's true. I like I thought he was pretty neat as a main character. I like both and Celica. I think respectively they're pretty neat. Overall, I feel like both of them would be on pretty neat. Like, I don't feel like they reach peak for me. I feel they're just neat. Like, I feel like they're neat. Maybe I like... do I like Alma a little bit more than Celica? Alma's fine. I really like his relationship with his dad and Berku, and the story was so good. I wouldn't say Alma's peak, but he and Celica are nice. They both build off each other well. Yeah, I feel like they both build off each other really well too. Like, I can see they play off each other really well. So I feel like if you rank them, you kind of have to rank them together. Alma's great, and I was totally fond of Celica. I like Celica, but for me they're not peak. They don't reach peak for me. Cause Alma and Celica kind of play off each other a lot. Even when in Shadows of Valentia, their roots kind of like deviate, they separate from each other. But I always felt like their characters kind of played off each other a lot. Do I like Alm more than Celica, or would I put them around the same? Like, since their theming is so deeply intertwined. But I feel like there's a bit of like time where you don't really see Celica for a bit. So I'm like, Celica was the first magic and physical unit. I always like Celica, and the remake adds more to her character with Conrad. I feel like Alm resonated a bit more to me than Celica. I feel like I'll probably put Alm on Need and Celica on an interesting fellow. Yeah. Yeah, I think probably that. Like, man, sure. I'll put a bit of Alfonse. Actually, maybe. I had to come back to this later. I'll rearrange them later. I'll have to rearrange them later. But I'll probably go around to rearranging things at the end. But for now, I'm still thinking. I'm gonna take a story as a classic and intertwined love story from different views. So that was pretty neat. Yeah, rearranging these for the end. Where does it make you down? I mean, it's kind of like when I played Shadows of Valentia, I played most of it. I think I just didn't beat the final map. But I feel like Alm kind of... I feel like I resonated more with Alm than Celica. Like, I like Celica's design and everything, but like... I don't know. I feel like with her story, I didn't resonate like fully. Like, I think they're good together, but like separate. I feel like Alm is a little bit higher for me. Does that mean Eliwood might be able to still go up? No. It's mostly just rearranging orders rather than like going up ranks. Edelgard. Oh, need to stretch. I mean, Celica's a bit weaker. Solo character than Alm is. Yeah, like together I feel like they're good, but as a separate units, I feel like Celica is a bit lower for me. Celica's pretty lackluster on her own. Alm can stand on his own pretty well. Now, the biggest fan of Edelgard is the person, but she's pretty well written. There's a reason she generates so much discourse. Like, the fact that Edelgard generates much discourse, like, over her actions is already commendable. It's already quite commendable. Because she's not a plain character. That's the big thing. She's not a plain character. She has a lot going on, which makes her an interesting character in and of itself. Whether I agree with her actions or not, that's a different story. But, Celica weaker after you obtain her strongest spell, she sweeps everything. Edelgard's complicated. Literally every emperor in the series is just depicted back, and she's kind of not different. She has her justifications because the church is kind of cultish and causes her trauma. Yeah. She's a very interesting character. She has a lot going on. I think she's actually relatively strong from what I remember when I played Black Eagles. Edelgard's a much more interesting character than a lot of them just because she has so much to talk about. Edelgard has a lot to talk about. There's a reason why there's so much discourse on Edelgard as a character. She definitely leaves a lot to talk about. While I don't necessarily agree with some of the actions that she took during the game, I still think she's a very interesting character. Edelgard's the conquest route. She has a good connection with Lysithia. I don't remember if I ever had them support. Oh my god, she's actually complicated for me to rank. Personally, I like Edelgard as a villain more than the hero. I feel Edelgard, she feels more villain-esque than a hero, yeah. As a unit, Edelgard's fun overall, but her unique class line kind of sucks from what I remember. As a character, she's complicated. She's complicated as a character, yeah. Like, it makes me like conflicted on where to rank her. I feel Edelgard's a well done character to have to agree with her actions to think they're neat. For sure, a good unit. Just her methods really made her out as a villain, and the reveal of being the Flame Emperor and the fact her sidekick is very comically evil. I still like playing as a villain, is to really like Edelgard. Edelgard makes her a very strong tragic villain, and a few actions are rude make her a little hypocritical. I prefer her as a villain. Yeah. Like, it's more like the hypocritical nature of it that kind of like bothers me a little bit. But as a villain, like, she's definitely like a tragic. She definitely fills the whole tragic villain sort of quota. Oh man, she's so hard to rank. She's actually the one that's giving me like the most conflicted feelings on where to rank her. In that case, is a better villain, Edelgard or Arvis. I don't know Arvis too much, so I can't really speak for Arvis because I haven't played Genealogy. Besides what I say, I like her and Hubert in the game. It's kind of pushing for her as a villain. Every other route has you against her in some way or at some point. That's because her actions essentially depict her as such. And when you realize how things could have been different if she had tried a different approach, it kind of doesn't help her case. Harvest is the first Flame Emperor and Barbecue Man. To be fair, that was kind of the point of Edelgard. She was made to make people conflicted. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, meets that point. I feel, despite my conflicting feelings for Edelgard, would I actually put her above Claude? Like, I personally like Claude more, but I feel like Edelgard is like more. She's more interesting. She has much more going on. Like, Claude had a lot of potential, but like his root kind of like undermines that a little bit. But also Edelgard's root has the whole hypocritical nature. I might put her behind Byleth, actually. Yeah, I think behind Byleth actually makes sense. Because I feel like I like Byleth more than Edelgard. I feel like she kind of is above all. I might go back on this. But for now, I'll put her here. I'll put her here for now. I might go back on this. She's too much thinking thonking. It's too much thinking thonking that I'm like, Edelgard's better written and impactful to the story. Actually, good way to decide this. She's better written than Dimitri. If not, she doesn't go in peak. No, for me, she's not better written than Dimitri. I don't feel that. I don't feel like she is. It's also pretty telling. Everyone from the house is in the upper 2 tiers. Ike, the man, the myth, the legend. The man that fights for his friends. The man that says, let's rumble. Edelgard's pretty well written. It would be more of a difference of opinions to rank her. It's really hard to find a good placement for her, I feel. I feel like it goes down to preference at the end of the day. The Ether Boy, the I fight for my friends, the Let's Rumble man. The man that went against the Black Knight himself. I can speak at Chiaki. I play the game, so she doesn't know. I don't know enough about him. That's the thing. Like, I've heard so many things about him and like stuff like that, but I feel like I don't know too much about him. Like, I feel like I never fully finished like Path of Radiance, so like most of like my knowledge of Ike goes from the little bit of Path of Radiance that I was able to play. So I can speak also early MC. That's not a noble, just a mercenary. Prepare yourself. I fight for my friends. You get no sympathy from me. He has some of the most memorable Smash quotes. He fights for his friends. He'll get no sympathy from him. He says, let's rumble in Fire Emblem Heroes. I had to be like Ike when I grew up. He loves his friends. He's very strong. He starts as a little man that gets babysat by Titania, but then he becomes pretty OP. Ike is just Ike, the really cool legendary character. You hear about him everywhere, but nobody knows so much about him because his games were so expensive and was left with the status. Yeah. The Let's Rumble line, yeah. Radiant Dawn Ike is Guts Light. And then he gets Boof in Radiant Dawn. Ike is me, that's it. People call Ephraim a Gary Stu, but literally Ephraim's story starts with his dad dying and only having 3 nights and one betrays him. That is true. Like, I feel like people call Ephraim Gary Stu, but like, he's literally like, okay, I'm gonna bring like 3 knights. And then one of the knights is like, psych, I'm not even your friend anymore. And it's like, okay. Oh, I do love Ike, but not as much as I used to after finally awakening to Micaiah being a way better character than him. Ike gets buff in Radiant Dawn to become Sigurd. Ike goes from twink to brick house. I feel like I don't know too much about Ike though. Like, my knowledge is more like from what I've heard. So like, I don't know. I don't know where I could rank Ike because I feel like I don't fully know him. I haven't played his game that much. I only played the first couple chapters. So, I don't know. I don't know where I'll put him. I feel like... It's not like Itsuki, which is like, I don't know who they are because I know him by name. But like, I don't fully know his full context. Does that make sense? I hope one day you'll play his games to understand his Ike-ness. Hopefully one day. But we like Ike. Ice is a cool design besides saying stuff like let's rub. I mean, yeah, it's true. He's hard to rank. He's hard to rank because I don't have too much knowledge of Ike. So I feel like... I'm gonna have to make a separate tier. It's just like, it's not like I don't know who they are, but it's like not enough knowledge. The Ike tier. This tier is just designated for Ike. Oh, man. I feel... he's not in Itsuki's category. But it's like, I'm missing more information. Like, he gets talked so much, like, we rarely know anything about his game. I don't know too much about his game, so it's like... I feel like I wouldn't be able to rank him, like, fully, because I don't know too much about this game. Other than, like, the first couple chapters that I played. So... if you're going to need a new tier for Sigurd too, since I haven't played it. Maybe I'll just change this to haven't played their games. I mean, Fire Emblem Heroes as much Ikeyness as I did Lyn Lucina, so you gotta know his need. I mean, Fire Emblem Heroes doesn't share too much of like the character's like backstory though. Or change this to haven't played their games. I'll probably have to put Ike in there. But Itsuki. And then Marth rank into the prologue. I explained it in the prologue because it's easier. And not spoil as much of the game. But yeah. I used to read about a million outside of his games. I mean, if I rank it based on my current knowledge of him, I'll probably just put him on like... like, I think he's neat. If I rank him on my current knowledge, if we go by just my current knowledge, which is like still very little, I would just probably put him, I think he's neat. Just because I don't know too much about him currently. So... I think I'll probably just go with that for now. Like if... I think I'll only use this if I literally don't know anything other than the name. Which is... probably for a couple characters here. I think that could work for now. Because like, based on like the little that I know, I think it's pretty neat. Honestly, getting to put in a scene with zero knowledge is pretty good. Like, I'm pretty much just using like knowledge from like first couple chapters and like just other stuff that I've seen from him. So I'll put him. I'll rearrange this later. Chris, I literally know like absolutely not anything about him. Chris is like literally nothing about him. I know he exists, and I know he's from like the Mystery of the Emblem, but literally Chris is like, I know nothing about Chris. So like I can't even rank him on like any sort of like limited information because I don't know anything about Chris. Yeah, so I don't know anything about Chris. He just stays in there. I never heard anyone talk about Chris. Chris is there. I mean, Chris was like the first Avatar character that had a face. Because there's Mark, but, you know. And Chris is literally a nothing character. You can make up his background. The first self-insert. I barely know Chris at all since the mystery doesn't exist over here and I haven't felt like sailing the seas yet. Leaf is also another one. I don't really know anything other than name, so... Kinda goes in, I don't know anything about Leaf. Because I haven't played Theracia. So... He's another one of like, haven't played their games yet. I don't know too much about Leaf, so... I can't even rank him based on anything, because I don't know anything about him. Chris is kind of a totally malleable blank slate. Lucina. Leaf barely got any character, even in Engage. Yeah, in Engage he doesn't even like get too much either, so it's kind of hard to rank him. Even with his appearance in Engage. That game has the fog of war that's just black. Lucina's for sure good. She's a good... I like Lucina. I like Lucina as a character. Would she be my favorite Awakening character? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'll put him as favorite, but... I'll say she's definitely a... Where would I put Lucina? Where would I put Lucina? I'm so biased towards Lucina. Liking her in Smash is how I got into Fire Emblem. She's been gold since I was like 14. I usually have a wacky sense of fashion in her supports. Just said I'm biased towards women, but I understand the hype towards her. Not favorite Awakening character, but top 10 for sure. I love Lucina. Wish she didn't disappear from the story after getting recruited. Better or worse than Chrom? I feel... I feel like above Chrom, maybe. Lucina's my favorite from Awakening, but she's up there. She's a really funny character in supports. In the main story, she's very cool. Yeah, I honestly like her in the main story. Her supports are also very endearing, too. So there's also that, too. Like, she kind of shows, like, a little bit of a dorkier side in some supports, which I think is really endearing. Oh, but, like... Do I like her more than Chrom? I feel like I like them both. Also, Yui, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, Yui and Raiders. Hope you guys had a good stream. And for the people that may not know me, I'm Chiaki Katsumi, the powerful and tubular Maine Coon hacker. We're currently ranking the main characters of the Fire Emblem games. Hope you guys had a good stream, and thank you so much for the raid, Yui. Thank you. Lucina's I like Lucina, but like after 1,000 hours of Awakening, I don't know. Your brains to the DLC is also needy, and when everything seems to be going wrong, she refuses to stop fighting. Lucina saved another timeline just to wander the world after knowing another her can be happy. Yeah, I feel like the dorkier side does soften her character a lot. Yeah, because if you see her supports, it definitely softens her quite a bit. She's hard. Like, it's not hard like in the sense of Edelgard, like with how much she has going on, but it's kind of like she's not my favorite, but she does have that gap knowledge that kind of like I feel softens her character a bit more. Instead of her just being like serious all the time because of the future that she comes from. Oh. Lucina. I feel like she's interesting. She's not my favorite out of like the Awakening cast, but she's interesting. I think I might actually put her above Celica. I mean, Celica might rank a little bit lower. Luigi idolizes Marth, tries to follow his footsteps is really cool. Yeah, like her whole idolizing Marth and like trying to cosplay Marth. Yeah, in fact, Lucina still has a silly goofy, even if she does have her serious side too. Yeah. I feel like she's endearing. I feel she's definitely endearing. Hector! The man, the myth, the legend. Hector is very charismatic. I really like Hector. I actually really like Hector. He's a unit. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He's an absolute unit. I love Hector. Have you seen Hector with the beard? I have seen Hector with the beard. Yeah, the one from Roy's game. Also, bye-bye, Ryusaki. Thank you for stopping by. Hector's really cool. He's just broken in this game. Okay, but beard or no beard? I feel like I like him without the beard. But I feel like that's just me not being like super big on beards anyway, so... Hector is great. I think Hector's really neat. So I feel he has to go and peak. I like no beard. I feel like I like no beard more, personally. But that's also because I'm not too big on beards anyway, so... I think Hector is peak, so he needs to go straight up to peak. He's very charismatic as a unit. He's also very strong. He's more memorable than Eliwood. I'm sorry, Eliwood. His story with his sibling and also his fate with the Armat is really cool. I'll never forget Hector's voice line in Heroes. Either after having him fight him so much. Godlyn is next. Oh, Godlyn. Everyone loves Hector the Armat helicopter. But doesn't the beard give it a boost in Rizness? No, I'm not a fan of beards. We can get our rest. Lyn. Lindis. What spoilers allowed? Preferably not too much from endgame sort of stuff. Just for people that haven't played the games. I usually try to not to go too deep into like stuff that happens in the respective games. Just so like I don't spoil things too much for people that haven't played the games that these characters are from. I'll say Heroes might be the only exception because it's a mobile game, but I'm not that good at FE. At least I finished with Lyn's written FE7. I'm a Lyn apologist. I like her. Lyn is also peak. Hector literally accepted death just to help Eliwood. I'll be real. I don't get the hype behind Lyn personally, but I don't know if it's because like I don't know too much about her per se. So it might just be because I don't know too much about Lyn herself as to why I don't get the hype behind her. Here's also spoil stuff from the mainline games. Well, yeah, but Heroes is a mobile game. It's decent. It's the units around her that are peak. Same. I don't mind Lyn, but she's still a okay character. And it's nice about her root prologue. Her contribution to the story drops noticeably. She's cute and was a lot of people's first lord. She's just neat and iconic FE waifu. I like her story, and she was a sword master lord, which was cool. Lynn, she's probably a lot of FE players' first waifu. She's kind of mid. She's just kind of there. Also rarely turns into a good unit. People's first waifu. She has enough speed to double. That's nice, I guess. I mean, if we talk about, like, her crit sprite is pretty cool. Like, her crit animation's pretty cool. But I feel like I don't have too much about Lyn, personally. First lord the West got to play as. I guess so. Because it was, like, the first lord that, it was a lot of people's first exposure to, like, Fire Emblem. Lyn, too, learns to use bows. It's really diverse and useful. As to her crits are really amazing. Her crits are really cool. She has a really cool crit animation. I'll give her that. Her crit animation is really cool. The only thing about Lyn is her lack of presence in FE6, unless you assume she gets her wrath and Sue is her kid. That is true. She has tomboy energy. I don't know. I feel like I never felt like too strongly about Lyn. I don't know what it is. Like I just never had like any particular strong feelings towards her. In comparison to like Hector and Eliwood is there. Like I wouldn't put her on Eliwood. Maybe I'll put her like a little bit higher than Eliwood because she doesn't deserve to be Eliwood rank. But I also don't have too many strong feelings towards Lyn. Lyn suffers from waifu syndrome. She was a prequel MC at first that wasn't that special. Character-wise, she's just okay in my opinion. She's a lot less important than Eliwood or Hector, so I didn't like them as much. She's not as boring as Eliwood, though. Yeah, like, her character is not as boring as Eliwood, but she also didn't, like, had too much of an impact on me. So there's also that. Not that important, she's just boosted by being a waifu that got pretty major test upgrades in her hero appearances. Lyn is good, but she heavily depends on being first. I might just... I think she's gonna... this is gonna hurt a lot of people. I feel like tier lists are always like the types of streams where people are just like... very like tense about how their favorite thing is gonna get ranked. Because obviously... everyone is gonna have their biases. Like, obviously what I think is gonna be different than what someone else's thinks. That's just how the nature of opinions are. We all think different things. We all have our own opinions on, like, where things should be ranked. So, I feel like tier list streams are always gonna be, like that. Everyone's gonna have, like, different opinions. Hey, your opinion is wrong, I'll anti. Oh my god. Mr. Chiaki's opinion is lies. This is my tier list, so obviously my opinion may be different than what you guys may think. It'll trend, go for it. You literally can't please everyone, so no matter what someone's gonna have a different opinion. Yeah, I feel that. But yeah, Lyn didn't have too much of an impact for me. As much as it's probably gonna hurt some people. So she's probably just like... nah, she's above Aaliyah for sure. Let me put her above... you know what? There you go. She was just aight for me. She just didn't make a very strong impression for me. But... yeah... under Aaliyah? Okay, that actually hurts. She's not under Aaliyah. I was trying to put her in front of Aaliyah. Micaiah is one of those I don't know much about. So she's pretty much in like, haven't played their games yet. I haven't played Radiant Dawn, so I don't know much about Micaiah. I feel like Engage didn't really tell me too much for Micaiah, so I don't know that much about Micaiah. So Micaiah goes on the I don't know. I literally don't know about Micaiah. Like, she's one of the characters that I don't even know much about her. So... I don't know her personality-wise, other than, like, the little that Engage, like, mentions her. So, I feel like I can't really rank her. Eirika. Oh, Eirika. She's not really likable, she could die easily in game. Not popular in general. Micaiah's neat, but there's a few oddities here and there. Micaiah's like a healer, but Lord. Peak. Radiant Dawn's story is worse than Fate's. I said it. You think so? Yeah, and Engage only gives the bare minimum character. Yeah, Engage doesn't explain Micaiah at all, so I feel like I can't really rank her. I don't know anything about Leaf, so he just goes in the I haven't played this game. So I don't know too much about him. Eirika, I like Eirika. Like, stat-wise, she's not great. She's not great. But she's sassy. She's sassy. The little bickering conversations between like her and Ephraim. Her supports with Seth. I like Eirika. I think Eirika's neat. I think she's really neat. Of course, you like the little sister. She's Chiaki core. I really like Eirika. So I feel like I have to... She has to... I like both Ephraim and Eirika. I really like the Sacred Stone siblings. She might be a weak unit, but she's such a fun character. I like her as a character. She's sassy. I really saw a side of her much except like 2 times. I feel like she was definitely sassy. Especially in like her... the way she talks with Ephraim. Interesting fellow is Eirika. Some people like her actions, but she's a person with a heart. She doesn't brag about Leon. It's just what she wants... Nyaa as a friend got possessed. Yeah, and then there's like the entire like friendship story between like Ephraim, Leon, and like Eirika. And I feel like the end of Sacred Stones hurts much more as Eirika than it does with Ephraim. Just because of Eirika's personal feelings towards Leon. And I'm just like, ah, oh, no. I like Eirika. I think she's neat. So I feel like she goes on the peak. I really like the Sacred Stone siblings. I actually had her defeat the final boss of my last playthrough Sacred Stones. No! That's so... The Leon stuff makes sense with the in-universe context. Oh yeah. It hits much more with Eirika. Honestly, I feel that last section hits much more with Eirika. Knowing Eirika's feelings of like the entire situation. And I really like Eirika. I feel like she's my favorite female lord out of like all the ones we've gotten so far. He basically lost a love interest. Leon would have probably been her husband before the war. Essentially, I feel. But yeah, I really like Eirika. I really like the Sacred Stone twins. But I was supposed to do a critical hit. Because Leon was just a little guy up first. Yeah, at first just thinking crit man. Thinking man, can't wait to hang out with more after this while Eirika's suffering. Yeah. It hurts, man. It's sad. It is very sad. It hurts me greatly. But yeah, Rowan, he's... Also, Blade, thank you so much for the tip. Thank you, thank you. Eirika might have her sassy moments, but if you ask me, my all-time favorite sassy little sister for me will always be this cat hacker. Aw, thank you. Rowan. Honestly. He goes bottom of the bin. Rowan should have his own tier. I'd say Rowan is meh. We already discussed he's Ephraim with the worst design in the story. He like tries to be Ephraim in the sense that he's like no thinking, just attack. But Ephraim is like more of a strategist, even when he's just like very wee ball. Like Ephraim is a very wee ball person, but he kind of just he can actually like, you know, pull that off. Rowan can't. Rowan cannot pull that off. And in general, Rowan's just very, like, boring. I don't even think Rowan made it into Heroes. Even Intelligent Systems forgets Rowan exists. And I don't blame them. He's a shonen protagonist. In a way, yeah, but... I honestly don't feel like he grows at the end of the story. Liana was kind of like the brains of the twins. Like, Liana's supposed to kind of be like Eirika. But, like, I feel like Liana doesn't even pull it off. Liana's very forgettable. The thing with Liana is, like, she's very forgettable. Yeah, everyone can actually pull off the not out of win. Everyone has the power to back up, we ball. I think neither got into Heroes. Chess made into Heroes, but Rowan didn't at all. So Intelligent Systems hates them. It's not theory. Intelligent Systems can't add warrior siblings to Heroes because of some reason, like copyright. Who made the game? But didn't Chess actually get added into Heroes though? Warriors doesn't have enough OC characters to do a whole banner. Ian, Rowan, and Liana got cards in Cypher. I mean, they would have to add like the 3. So basically, Rowan, Liana, and whatever the name of like Warriors version of Leon was, who I already forgot. I forgot what his name was. The other guy, the one that was supposed to be Leon, but it's like brown hair. And I think he has a similar hairstyle to Rowan. Darius, yeah, that guy. Trust you, I forgot his name too. No, from Warriors got into Heroes. Even TMS got into Heroes. Neither Warriors twins made it. He has some interesting resentment towards his dad. The reason he idolizes Knight, it doesn't go anywhere though. Yeah. Yeah. Just I forgot his name. Yeah, Heroes does have Shez, Arval, and I recall a 3 Hopes version of Hilda. Shez, personally, I did think they were super bland when I watched my bro playthrough of Hopes. I don't know anything about Shez. I haven't played through 3 Hopes, so this goes into like, I literally don't know. I have no clue about Shez. I haven't played 3 Hopes. I own 3 Hopes, but it's just sitting there. Sigurd, I don't know anything about genealogy, so that's another one I don't know about. And I still need to get through genealogy. I don't know too much about Sigurd, other than like, my man goes through it. He just goes through it. That's the only thing I know about Sigurd, is that he goes through it in like his game. They don't need to know their Byleth rival and that's it. Sigurd's a depressive man. Just no Sigurd's cool but dies. Yeah. He has a fiery passion. I love what she says. Sigurd is suffering the whole time. He goes through it, man. Yeah, man deserves to win. I love Sigurd. Unfortunately, I don't know too much about him to properly rank him. So he goes in that I haven't played his game yet. So I can't really rank him. Gameplay-wise, Sigurd's pretty strong. Sigurd suffers from being a victim of the plot. Man. So he does go through it. Sigurd's a master of conquering nations defensively. Because of Jugdral Len. Maybe that's the next thing they'll announce. Maybe, hopefully. If you put genealogy, you probably put him in peak. That is if I had played genealogy, which I haven't played genealogy. So, since I haven't played it, I can't really rank him. So he goes in the... I don't know. Sigurd was an absolute beast. He was your Jaken. I'm assuming he doesn't fall off grace like Jaken. Roy McCoy. Roy. He's kind of weak. By starters, he's kind of weak. There's that. He doesn't have a lot of, his stats are not great. But it's Roy, our boy. I wonder why. I wonder if it's genetics. It's in the water. Roy's the worst lord of all time gameplay-wise. I've heard his stats are not great. Carried by Binding Blade. Roy weak and useless, but I like him. He's cavalry unit in a game with Titanic maps, where cavalry gets ton of buffs. Sigurd being bad is almost impossible. Roy is our boy. He can't promote till the end of the game. He's just dead weight most of the game. He has the Eli with T-bomb. At least he gets strongest legendary weapon. Besides Amir. There's something very annoying about Roy in the end game. Roy is hurt by having super late promo and gets carried by his promotion, a PRF. Roy. Roy has fire and smash Bros. Oh, is Roy really the weakest lord? But I heard still can get kills despite not being a strong lord. I mean, if he couldn't get kills, that would be a problem. But he is not great gameplay-wise. He essentially kind of has to lead an army while being a kid. He essentially has to see Hector despawn of this world. A preferred unique weapon. Oh, that's what that means. He's just a guy. I think he's just a guy. As his dad didn't die unlike Lolita's. Poor Lucina, man. Hector and Eliwood basically throw responsibility onto Roy. Essentially, yeah. Yes, to see Hector get covered in ketchup. This is so sad. This is so sad. Such sad news. Honestly, he kind of feels aight. I feel Roy feels aight to me. So I feel like I wouldn't put him with Rowan and Corrin. I feel he's aight. He honestly just feels aight. Roy just feels aight. Like I feel like I don't have any strong feelings towards Roy. He's a bit of a foil to the main villain, but doesn't feel terribly well written. He's basically Rat Marth. Rat Marth. But I like him to call him interesting. Otherwise, he's basically just Marth again, without anything that makes him actually fun. He's Marth again. He's Marth, but on the DBA. Personally, besides me liking him in Smash, I literally know nothing about him. Nobody ever talks about Roy. I mean, it could also be because this game never got translated. Sharena. She's the jolly to Alfonse's serious, nerdy, a bit edgy personality. Sharena's cute, but intelligent systems hates her. Sharena, I love her. She's definitely less interesting and relevant than her brother. Outside of Fairy arc, her story contributions are very limited. Oh boy, Veronica's his life. Sharena's quite literally the hyper Genki little sister. She is like the Genki to Alfonse's serious, kind of nerdy, a little bit edgy side. Every hero, since there's multiple units for the Lord's inherited skills. Usually it's more like personality vibes. Sometimes taking a little bit of their stats into consideration. How does Sharena do? Cheer up! Mental support. Emotional support. She doesn't get much story relevance ever. Even the fairy arc, she doesn't do much. I mean, I feel like Sharena, like, she kind of has relevance in the fairy arc with, like, the events of everything, but, like, she doesn't do much, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, her getting involved in the whole fairy thing, it's, like, important because, like, she was also there. But she's also, like, not fully involved into, like, fairy stuff. So it's kind of like she's there, but, like, is she really? She makes friends. She's happy. You need to have a cheerleader to all the edginess. If it's personality-wise, I would say neat, because they didn't develop her as much as Alfonse. That's the thing for me, like, Sharena, like, the only thing I can think about is, like, she's Genki, but that's it. Was she key factor during the Niffle arc? Was she? She befriends Veronica, that's about it. She befriends Veronica. She tells Alfonse about the hay. She tells Alfonse about the whole hay thing. And how the magic hay will, like, alert the villagers. He brought the hay. So there's that. That was Fjorm. No, the hay is actually Sharena, not Fjorm. No, Fjorm is too busy dying. Except she doesn't die. In fact, one of the main things she does is bring up the magic hay. She brings up the magic hay. Oh, for Niffle? A very summer. I feel like she's the height. And Sharena's really weird. Since she would be like a female MC from Heroes, but she's kind of just there. The Fire Ice arc was so long ago. Yeah, I think like it's mostly Fjorm for the Fire Ice arc. Like Sharena in that arc, she kind of just brought the magic hay and that's it. So, like, there was something with her in the fairy arc and like, oh yeah, she's kind of like allegedly a fairy, but also she was not really a fairy after all. And like, I don't know, it kind of feels like a lot of her arcs are just like, we're gonna do something with her character and then it's just like, nah, you know what, never mind. So like, I don't know. With Sharena, it kind of feels like they try to do things for her halfway, and then they just don't commit. Yeah. Yeah, she's just eye for me. Even though I do like her design, she's cute. At least she's just kind of there as a character. There we go. She brought the magic hay. That's her accomplishment. Main story contribution is a single part of Heroes where females are not massively preferred over males. Alphonse gets a lot more development. I feel like Alphonse gets more development. Let's just have a hero plot in a nutshell. They did that to her mom too. Yeah. She's our mental psychiatrist for our heroes we That hay is an instant ite. Intelligence systems hates her and quite literally takes away her chances to grow as a character. Like, I feel a lot of her character arcs are like... they try to give her something interesting and then they just give up halfway. So it's like, yeah, we're gonna give her like an interesting character arc and then it's just like, nah, never mind. It's like, nope, in reality she was not involved with that. So it's like, okay. So what was the entire point of the build-up then? So I feel like... I feel like because of that, like, her entire arcs never really stick. At least with Alphonse, his arcs actually stick because they fully develop them. But with Sharena, it always feels like it's halfway. And then they just switch it up last second. They don't commit to Sharena. Intelligent Systems doesn't commit to, like, actually fleshing out Sharena. Which is really sad. She does have a really cute design. And I like that she's kind of like Genki and stuff. But I feel like there's not much to her other than her being Genki. So I feel like she's kind of I. This is gonna probably maybe a little bit over there. Is Sharena even get her resplendent? Not sure. Hopefully after she won a brave out, they'll make her more important. May she'll be revealed as a true final boss. And Celiph, I don't know about Celiph, so he goes in the same category. He goes in the same. I haven't played his game. So yeah, there's like 7 characters in the I haven't played their game, so I can't really judge them. You ask your trio, haven't gotten resplendence. No idea if they ever will. That was quick. Yeah, I haven't played Celiph's game, so I became Sentinel the worst in the manga. I mean, the manga's different from the actual game, though. She doesn't know Sigurd the way she knows Celiph. Yeah. But yeah, we did it. We fully ranked them all. Never got to Celiph's part of the game. Only got to chapter 3, I think, of genealogies. So he's a bit of a hoe to me. That's fair. It's totally fair. I had to change the category to just, like, I haven't played their games, so I can't really, like, rank them. But yes, we have done it. We completed the tier list. They've all been ranked. Oh, would I make any final changes? I should probably check if I'll make any final. Any final changes? Let me see. Maybe on the need? Oh, so hi, Shaq. Welcome. It's true. Gotta see if there's any placement changes. Yeah. Neat, Claude, Byleth, Edelgard. I can, Marth needs his own tier. Just the Marth tier. Alright, I have to leave now. So bye-bye, best hacker and Katsurans. I was just waiting until we reach the end of it. Good night. Hope you have a good night, Blade. Thank you for stopping by. Martin needs to be in Fire Emblem tier. You just put Alfonse over Celica. I should have made a category just as Mr. Fire Emblem, and that's just Marth. Because he kind of is Mr. Fire Emblem. Okay, Martin needs to be in his own tier. The Mr. Fire Emblem tier. Oh, God. John Fire Emblem. Mr. John Fire Emblem. Yeah, Martha's Mr. Fire Emblem. After having ranked the entire Fire Emblem series lords, I'll mention this. You're rating the lords of Maine so passionate about the games. Brought a huge smile to my face. Chiaki really was the most endearing of everyone today. You're so based. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words and for the tip, Blade. Thank you, thank you. Alira's Mr. Fire Emblem too. Nah. I do feel like taking a singular characters without surrounding characters to bounce off. Alpha's a bit more solid than Celica. I mean, I feel like... For me, I feel like Celica is a bit dependent on as like a bounce off. So I feel like... yeah, I feel like I might have probably put Alfonse a little bit higher. Lucina, Chrom. Yeah, that sounds right. Let's see, Leona, Sharena, and Roy. Between Leona or Sharena, would I... There's technically the Fire Emblem. But that's different. Oh, Leona's not an MC, but how are you rate her? Lucina? Leona's cute. But I don't know how I would rate her personally. It's a bit hard to rate her, considering like most of her stuff will be locked behind supports. So I don't know. They should have made Lena Lord since she's Hector's daughter. They should have, yeah. At least the literal Fire Emblem, not the Fire Emblem. We have had a bunch of changes on what the Fire Emblem is, depending on the game. Celica does kind of need to work well as well, so she does as she does. Since without him, Celica will be a bit worse of a character. I'm not sure it's a bit more memorable than Liana personally, and even despite heroes hating her, she still gets more development than Liana. I mean, I would say Sharena definitely is way more memorable than Liana. So... yeah. Honestly, I feel like she does deserve to be a little bit higher than Liana. Fire Emblem has been a chainsaw sword at some point. Lena might be upgraded to lore when they do the remake. If they do the remake, we don't know what the next remake's gonna be. Liana beating Roy's funny to me. Lena might be upgraded to Lord. She definitely leaves more of an impression. I feel she does leave more of an impression. I don't know, I feel like there's just not much about Roy as a character. Other than just like, he's in Smash. But... yeah. Well... on the mid category... between Corrin, Eliwood, and Rowan. Rowan, yeah. Straight up bottom of the barrel, so... Corrin or Eliwood. I feel like as much as I think that Corrin is a blank slate and like they take away all his agency in the story, I would still put him above Eliwood. I'm sorry, Eliwood, but depending on how you look at it, but it's also Mr. Fire Emblem. Crest of Flames is another way to say Fire Emblem. It all depends on like the game, but like Marth has always been the mascot of like the franchise itself, so like that's why he is Mr. Fire Emblem. He's John Fire Emblem. But yeah, Eliwood's taking so many shots. Female Corrin as nowhere noble automatically puts her above Eliwood. So yeah, I don't think I'll change. I would make any other changes, any other moving around. Yeah, I think this works. I think this works. If only Eliwood dodged a little bit, he would take so many shots. Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. For Eliwood. Where do you rate Sami? He has his own category of like cutest little critters. We need the cute critters category. There isn't that many in Fire Emblem. There's Lilith and there's Sami, I think. And that's about it, I think. Sad. Eliwood even survived the dead parent trope. I feel like, cute critters, we only have Lilith and we only have Sami. I don't think there's any others. So, we need more cute critters. There's not really tons of cute little critters in FE. There's Faye. I mean, I guess there's Faye, technically speaking. I do wonder how... Pheasant Owl, right? Yeah, Pheasant Owl. It's the hero's owl. Yuna too? Who's Yuna? So this counts? She's cured a critter. I mean, I don't think so this counts as a critter, no. Eliwood survives the pair at the cost of his growth and stats. They wonder how Ike's ranking might change if you play this game. And just Micaiah too. Yeah, I feel like it would highly depend. Yuna's the bird Micaiah has. We're not sure. Not sure about Yuna. Micaiah's is burp. Oh yeah, I don't know. No clue. Like, obviously, for the people that are on the haven't played their games, if I had played their games, probably their rankings would be a little bit different. But yes, as of right now, 4th of May, 2025. These are the current rankings. Does Tiki count? No. I don't think Tiki counts as a critter. I wouldn't count shapeshifters as critters because they're actually, you know, like humans that transform into critters. I mean, I guess Lilith is technically like human transforms into critter, but she spends more time as critter, so I feel like that's a little bit different. I mean, technically, Abram TMS could Loki count. Villain ranking when? I feel like I don't really have like too many favorite like Fire Emblem villain rankings. Because a lot of like the Fire Emblem villains are kind of like just like ahaha evil power. There's a couple that are like more interesting. But a lot of them are kind of just like haha power evil conquer. And there's not really too much about them. So can you rank the red and green cavaliers? The red and green cavalier combos. Lilith is a bit different since she's barely seen in her human form. Yeah, I feel like Lilith is... I put Lilith more on the cute critter because we barely see her human form. So, either evil dragon or evil old mage dude. Yeah. To be fair, a lot of FE villains are that. They are, yeah. A lot of FE villains are that. We have gotten a couple interesting ones that are not just that, but a lot of them are that. So, I feel like there wouldn't really be too much to rank. Like, yeah. Okay. I shall switch over. We have done it. We have ranked them. They have been ranked. I rate Kaida as a character. I feel like she's alright. I feel like depending on like the piece of media you're consuming, Kaida's a bit different. I know like the OVA kind of made her a bit more tsundere, but she didn't really strike me as a tsundere on the games, honestly. But honestly, it depends on the piece of media that you're consuming on how Kaida is like interpreted. It's kind of like the same with Navari. Navari in like the anime is really edgy, but like in the game he's kind of just like, just pay me and I'll like fight for you. I forget. She turns into a cute little critter. She does not. Kaida's a fun character, Tanso. She's just odd. Young games that don't have all their villains be that also fall into that. And the heroes, those who slither in the dark and just comically evil. Who's the worst father? King Garen or Valador? Who takes the prize of worst father of the year? I don't know who takes a worst father. Sombra. I mean, Sombra could actually be pretty up there on worst father, honestly. So it's I would say actually Sombron might be worst at. Eli, what? I don't think Eli was that bad as a dad. Sombron straight up offs his own kids. Yeah, I kind of feel like Sombron might be worse as a dad. I mean, Valador kind of pretty up there, just kind of like having a son and being like, son, you're gonna be sacrificed to this dragon god now. It's like, what? And the mom having to run away with the son because the dad is cuckoo crazy. Garen has been a puppet for years though. He was actually dead, I think. I believe so, yeah. You let it pass down bad stat, that makes him the worst. Within Garen Valadar, I say Valadar because it's all willing on his end. For Garen, it's Anako's possession. I guess so. Or it's just pay me. I don't fight the woman. Yeah, essentially. Essentially, that's pretty much like Nabare in like the games. But in the OVA, he's kind of very edgy for some reason. It actually took me by surprise when I watched the OVA. When we did the watch along for the OVA, I was like, why is he so edgy? He wasn't that edgy in the games. He was just like, okay, just pay me and I'll fight for you. That's it. Is it really bad though? Here's basically just made Grimma into a big tsundere. Did they? If passing down stats matters, Valadar is a great dad. What about the bar tier list with Lonky and Joshua and friends? Not sure. The anime in the bar into Shadow the Hedgehog for some reason. He was so edgy, and for what? It's weird. It was an odd choice. I like Joshua. I thought Joshua was a cool character. Like he kind of just starts as like the typical like player character, like oh yeah, like I don't fight women. Proceeds to crit said women that tried to recruit him, but we don't talk about that. But then you kind of like find out his entire like backstory, and I thought he was actually a pretty decent character. It was pretty cool. That feels like boohoo. My dad was a jerk. Better team up with dragons and exterminate humanity. Last in Halloween, Grimma. The Joshua crits are evil. Here's a lot of Grimma and Robin's body. Oh, that makes him into a weird tsundere. Oh. Interesting. The Joshua crits. I remember that. Because when I tried to recruit him with, oh, what's her face? The blonde girl. The blonde healer girl. I was, like, slowly getting her close to Joshua. And Joshua was like, I don't fight women. He proceeded to crit said women, by the way. So, sure, he doesn't fight women. Yeah, Natasha, that's her face. He's like, oh yeah, I don't fight women. And he's like, oh yeah, what's it called? Tails or heads. Oh, I guess it's heads. It's a bad day or something like that. Good not the Natasha reset. I had to reset because he straight up crit Natasha. I was like, bruh, mister, I don't fight women. I just do crits on women. He doesn't fight women, he kills. And he was not afraid of fighting women. A defenseless one at that couldn't even fight back. He didn't even have to crit. Oh my god. He didn't even have to crit. But alas, here we are. It isn't a fight if it's a healer. No, it's straight up murder in broad daylight. Straight up murder in broad daylight. That's not even a fight. So apparently Akma and Nabari had a rivalry. Apparently in like New Mystery of the Emblem that's mentioned, yeah. Joshua did have to crit though. He needs the style points. That's where I learned to throw an unarmed Seth in front of enemy recruitments. I was like making like a circle around there, trying to like slowly inch towards Joshua. But no, you just had to do that. It was so evil, man. So evil. Also, Leafooty, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. Hope you had a good stream, Leaf. And thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, we kind of just finished the tier list. Yeah. That was the same with Lena's bro. Dude was scared to fight. He immediately runs straight into Lena and kills her if you don't stop him. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. What's his face? Rosado or whatever his face. Yeah. Oh, my God. He's a pain to recruit. Yeah, Leafooty, thank you so much for the raid. For the people that don't know me, Chiaki Katsumi, the powerful and tubular Maine Coon hacker. Yeah. Yeah, we're just chatting now since we just finished the tier list. Yeah, I think the guy you're referring to, his name is, what's his face? Rosado or something? Rosado, Fire Emblem. Shadow Dragon. Wait, not Rosado. Not Rosado. It's a, that's not his name. It's a name with R. Lena. That's his name. It's not Rosado. Rosado's the engaged guy. What's the name of your brother? Try to look up her brother. I remember her brother's like a horse, cavalier guy. It's really low level. Oh, Mathis! I messed up his name. Mathis. Yes. Recruiting Mathis is a pain in the butt. It's not even worth it. Yeah, Mathis. Mathis. I don't know why I thought his name was R. No, Mathis. Yes. Julian is her... Yeah, Julian is Lannis's boyfriend. Well, not boyfriend. I don't know if they're boyfriend or boyfriend-girlfriend. But I know you recruit Lena same chapter with Julian because Julian is like protecting her. But yeah, Mathis is a pain to recruit. Not even worth it. You get him at like level 2 or something. It's like not even worth the time, honestly. Oh, I knew mystery they are dating. Interesting. The more you know. But at least in Shadow Dragon, Mathis is not worth it. I don't know if new mystery fixes growth stats, but yeah. Julian had a buddy named Rickard. Yeah, such an annoying recruiter. He's not great either. Yeah. He's not great either. And in that chapter, you can miss the village where Merrick is if you try to save this guy instead of Merrick. Because I know there's a thief that can destroy like villages in that map. And there's 2 villages. There's one that has money and the other one has Merrick. And you can miss Merrick if you pretty much like end up letting the thief destroy the village. And considering, I don't remember if the next chapter is Minerva's. You definitely need a mage for Minerva's chapter. So like missing Merrick is bad. Especially considering how Minerva's chapter goes. That's reserved for Pala. Mathis doesn't get buff. Man. Yeah, Mathis is just kind of you get him at a very low level too. So it's kind of like, not worth it. I honestly don't feel Mathis is worth it. Unless you're really that low on like cavalry units. But if you're not, honestly, I think Mathis, you can skip him. You don't miss anything. I doubt that's where you get Harden and his band of riders. He's just bad in general. Mathis is not very good. You get Harden in the next chapter. Cain and Abel are just better. Yeah. Cain, Abel, and if you keep Frey, if you didn't sacrifice Frey, he's pretty. As you're super dependent for cavalry, Mathis is an easy skip. Yeah, unless you're like that desperate for cavalry, you can honestly just skip Mathis. You don't need Mathis. He starts at level 2. You really don't need him. You really don't. I say hi, Doki. Welcome. So I say hello. I'm about to go back to work. Good luck at work. Thank you for stopping by. Getting Mathis right before Harden his band of overpowered riders. Yeah. Like Mathis, I feel it's more like if you really need like extra cavalry, then you can get him. But honestly, most of the time you're not gonna need it. Okay, Mathis Elena doesn't lose her brother. I mean, he's just gonna be benched, but sure, I guess you could try getting Mathis. I tried using Mathis for 2 seconds and they were miserable. Yeah. I tried using Mathis in the same chapter that I recruited him, but he just was not good. But yeah. And then to get Minerva later, so it's even worse. Yeah. Yeah, would you let 2 siblings be separated? I mean, I would try to recruit him, but like, I don't want to miss Merrick, who's a better unit. More useful for what you're gonna, for the future maps than Mathis is. Considering you have better cavalry units than Mathis at that point, if you didn't lose them all. But... yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Tis hard. Tis hard, tis hard. He do be like that. But alas. Like, if you really need him, I guess you can go out of your way to get him, but... yeah, he's a skippable unit. He's definitely a skippable unit. Honestly, if you did somehow lose all your other cavalry before Mathis, he's not really going to help either. I mean, he's gonna be a level 2, so... not really gonna help you too much. You would need to baby him a lot for him to be actually decent, so I don't think he's gonna help you too much in the long run, but... you know, maybe he can, like, clear up lower, low health enemies, but as I said, I wouldn't count on it. And yeah, right after you get better cavaliers are free anyway. Exactly. Recruit and bench. Well, yeah, you can just bench him. But yeah, so bye-bye, Lightly. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you have a good rest of your day / night. But yeah. I think I'm probably gonna call it here, though. Let me see. Can we find someone to raid? He has a free Iron Lance at least? I guess so, yeah. Well, there's a couple stores and, like, maps that you can visit. And anyone can visit stores, so I don't think it's, like, too bad if you need, like, other lances you can buy. At least for when I got Mathis, like... I already had plenty of, like, other lances that I could use. Hey, do you sound sleepy? I'm a bit eepy, I feel. I feel like I am a little bit eepy. That's fair. You're already sleepy too. Nyaa. That's good. Yeah, let me see who we can raid. Who is around right now? Who's streaming? There's a couple people streaming. Couple people streaming. Let's see. You gotta rest. There's some stuff that I need to get done. I'll see if I have the energy to get it done. But I feel very eepy. It's like almost 9. It's not even that late either. Thanks for the stream, Chiaki. It was a lot of fun getting to talk about Fire Emblem so much with you. I love getting to hear you nerd out about stuff like this. So it's really cute. Aw, thank you. Here for more Paper Mario this week. Yeah. I shall post the schedule probably tomorrow. Early tomorrow though. Yeah. You'll see it by then. Yeah, tomorrow the Paper Mario though has a head out. Wow. I'm definitely EP. First time watcher, it was a good first impression. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for stopping by. I get some good rest tonight. You can work on stuff tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably... I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, here is the raid message. And I shall see you guys tomorrow. Yeah. So, hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, afternoon, whichever time it is for you. And I shall see you then. And the most important part that you must not forget, which is to stay tubular. I just got back. Can you start over? No. Well, thank you for the super though. I'm not gonna start over. Yeah. Don't forget to stay tubular. But yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye. Ciao. Good. Bye. Bye.